to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty.
Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. find it first, but here I am. 'Cause I've been laying under palm trees waiting for the summer.
Since he's been trying to take those shots to himself and all about trying to get the cue ball to the top part of the table, which he has played really well. Probably about as well as he could have. And now just working his way here towards Ronnie O'Sullivan. Does have a chance to try and get this plant into the right corner, but chooses not to play the shot. And just go for a safety approach himself. Maybe just trying to disturb the plant slightly, which he could have left to Joe O'Connor, and well, that's a really fortunate escape. You know, he had a couple of those that got it against his way in the match against Ali Carter, but this one certainly was leaving a red away to Joe O'Connor. Instead, he's going to have the cue ball right in behind the green. So let's see what Joe is going to try and come up with here as the solution to work his way to the top part of the table. And decides like nothing. He's going to be able to put him safe, and in the end just trying to get a clean contact on those reds. He managed to do that, to be fair. Not leaving anything into the left corner. And the right was always going to be blocked off by the wall of reds. So Ronnie just thinking about maybe just trying to find a way to the red onto the right part of the table. But as he's unable to do so, Joe will probably try and do the same, because there's not a real chance for you to be playing the cue ball away onto the ball cushion, because you're always going to leave a chance of your opponent trying to pot this red into the right corner. So I think Joe O'Connor is going to be very much aware of that, and if we get stuck in the players just trying to roll the cue ball backwards and forwards, we have to go for a re-rack in the next proximity for a couple of minutes time. So a bit of cue ball action here on the white needed. So if you just try and push it away into the left corner, ever so slightly, I think he's playing the shot just about well enough, although he doesn't seem to think that way. Let's see if he's left a touching ball here. And if that's going to change the mind of Ronnie O'Sullivan, I think it likely has. And just looking to find a perfect gap to try and send the cue ball into. Because Ronnie has got an opportunity to try and use the ball colours to his advantage, but also needs to be very much wary of the fact that he may be leaving a red away to O'Connor here. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. He didn't really play the kiss on the yellow at all. And let's have a look what Joe O'Connor will be able to see. And he certainly can see enough of this red to try and pot it into the right corner. So it's all about trying to get on the collar from it. And I feel like it's not going to be easy for him to do, because ideally you want to try and just roll this one into the right corner with no power. Get yourself lined up on the black, but it's not really going to happen. If you try and play a long shot like that, well, that's what he's tried. And he's tried to play too accurate to me. In the end, the same red is going to be left away. And this is a great chance of Ronnie to try and show an early piece of skill here. He's going to be looking to try and see all of these reds available to him. For now, he's going to try and take the one into the left corner. He has got a lot of options next to his name. And as he gets himself into the lead. So just slightly overplaying for the black straight away. So just has to try and slow the cue ball down. Once again, he has got that red over the right corner to try and go with it, but still the positional play has to be slightly better than that as he plays the black in nicely. So slightly awkward trying to bridge over the red as he pushes the cue ball all the way towards the right side cushion. Rolls the red in nicely. This time around, he's able to recover the position on the black. But of course, he needs a lot of angle here, I would say. Try and force the cue ball to go the long way around the entire pack of these reds and basically have one lined up for the right corner. So if you play this shot through the black, should be able to try and stay on those reds. And you can see a lot of action there got on the cue ball. And, well, pretty much in between there of being over the entire pack and having a couple of reds by the side cushion faced. And also slightly overrun for the red like he was playing on for intentionally. Trying to find himself on the black. But in the end he plays a really good shot on those reds. Managing to pot one and still stay on the blue. So Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, has gone on to have that 3-0 of a cushion for his opponent in the match against Dalicard. He had a similar situation against the last couple of meetings of Joe Yulong and Jack Lisowski. He's gone on to lose all of these matches. But now it's a first real chance for him to try and put this opening frame next to his name. Just having to think about the position on those reds. So pretty much, I'd say, off the bulk cushion, off the side cushion on the left-hand side, and try and send the cue ball diagonally across the table. That's what he's played for, but he's played it for great precision. And I think he's got it, because the cue ball should just about get past the black underneath it, and still be alright for the break to continue. You can see a lovely shot there that Ronnie has played. So having the cue ball to bounce away just far enough from the cushion so that he's going to have a great chance of staying on the break here for a couple of more shots. So 23 points is going to be his advantage. And as he plays for the blue, he might be having to play for a shot into the bunch, and that's what he has, but oh, I think that's gone really wrong. That's gone wrong quite badly for him, because he missed the blue into the right middle as he left the red away into the right corner. It's not really going to come across as a big surprise, but still very disappointed to see those kind of mistakes from O'Sullivan's point of view. Let's see if O'Connor is able to get through to one of these reds onto the right point of the table. Feel like he can. Therefore, just needs to avoid the middle pocket and stun the cue ball for the pink, which he has done. So I thought he actually might go for an option of going for the green instead. But he felt like he had the chance to try and hold the cue ball for the pink. That's what he's done. Forcing himself slightly wide here, especially with the cue ball being quite close to the side cushion as well. So he needs to try and take this one in, which he does. So then all of these reds to be taken into the right corner. I think they're not going to be in the way of each other too much right now. So yeah, a real chance here for O'Connor to try and turn this 23 points of a disadvantage. There's a massive problem here for Ronnie O'Sullivan, because it's not going to be anywhere near enough in terms of the points tally that he'll score. And O'Connor clearly just committed to try and stay on the pink for as long as he can. So just needing to be slightly careful with the way he's going to try and navigate his way through these raids. So be having one or more to be taken into the right corner. Now he's going to be on 14 points, so as I say, he still has a great chance of winning the frame at this visit at the table, but you know, the fact that he's of course started this break with 23 points behind, of course, doesn't really help the case, because he has got a couple of reds on the side cushion, a couple of them in the way of each other, so he just needs to try and play these shots really well for him to stay in really good position for the pink, and it doesn't seem like he's getting the satisfaction of those shots, just making sure he's going to be perfectly lined up on the pink every single time he has got the ability to try and maneuver the cue ball around the second most expensive colour on the table and still get himself lined up on these reds, and he might have had to take the pink spot right now, so give himself the ability to put the pink into one of the middle pockets instead as he comes back on the blue spot at the table, and Ronnie has to be watching on here, waiting on for Joe to make a mistake. So yeah, probably is going to be another easy reds, and then we're going to see what happens as he takes it into the right corner quite comfortably. This time around it's going to be quite interesting to see what he does, because he's got two options here, trying to play for another loose red, maybe have a plant available into the right corner, or you know, he could try and go for a split of the bunch. I'm not really going to say that that's going to be a best option that you can play, because you know, these reds are going to be quite close to the black, and depends on which power you play them with. He could still lose control of the cue ball and put it over the right corner pocket. So he's tried to play the cannon, and let's see what he's ended up on. He's played this one absolutely perfectly, to be fair, Joe. And he's going to have a great chance of trying to put this one behind him now, because he basically got, you know, 5 reds available to himself in a single shot that he's played. Slight issue still going to be there for the black not to be available. Covered up by the blue to be taken into the right corner. And you can see playing the backspin shot on the cue ball. So of course he wants to try and eliminate the blue as soon as he can, or at least try and get rid of the red right next to the black, so that he's going to go into the left corner as well. But for the time being, just try and take it as a one shot at a time. Get yourself lined up for these reds to be taken, and surprisingly, I will say, he's gone for the one to be taken into the right corner there, which means it's quite a difficult rest shot. It has to reach quite far ahead of him, and also, you know, playing for the pink from this position is not going to be the easiest thing in the world, so clearly doesn't have any other option to his name. He now scores 35 points, of course still nowhere near enough for him to be the winner of the frame, but still have 75 points to try and make his way through it. Well, you feel like the next couple are going to be very important, because the position is only going to get better from there. It's certainly going to take this red into the right corner quite nicely, so you can see once again there, this from O'Sullivan's point of view. And the first thing that he was in there to check was the position there. He lined it up for his opponent at that point onto those reds, and in the end O'Connor was able to get through them. So he's now just trying to make the most out of the position here that was, you know, presented to him super cheaply from Ronnie's point of view. And doesn't look like, you know, especially with him taking that red away from the side cushion, doesn't really look like he's going to have a massive number of issues here trying to make his way. So O'Connor going to be lined up for this pink to be taken into the right middle. So played with the bit of backspin once again. You know, never too nice those shots when you have to play them with full power. So O'Connor just allowing himself to concentrate on the pot just about enough there, so that he can put on a bit of topspin, play the cue ball away from the pink, and therefore away from the red as well. But he basically has got 2 more reds for him to pot, and then after this one, and then he should be nicely strolling away to a frame win. So once again takes the first one, and doesn't want the cue ball to have too much of an angle, which, I mean, he's probably just about done all right there, as we're going to see the first 50 plus break here in this match. So play this shot on the cue ball with a slight bit of topspin, a backspin I should say, sorry. But I think he's gone quite close there to running himself out of position. because of having the black in the way. So yeah, it could have been easier with this red, but he clearly can get through to it. So that's going to be the fine aspect. And just try and play it for the paint for the next shot. And yeah, as he holds the cue ball really nicely for it. He's now only 2 shots away from making it the opening frame. Very much his for the taking. And I have to say, had to work really hard for it ever since presented that position, because it's still had a lot of problems along the way. But it looks like they're all going to disappear because it's 40 points advantage. 43 still remaining at the table. And yeah, if you roll this red into the right corner, to the left corner I should say, he should just be able to commit himself to play for the blue. That's going to give him enough points there to leave Ronnie O'Sullivan needing 2 snookers. And it's the first mistake that he's going to be punished flow in full flow. Oh, despite missing the blue, Ronnie might come back to the table here just to get a bit of playing time next to his belt. But it's a really good break there, 64 points, which yeah, basically leave Ronnie O'Sullivan in a really difficult situation here. Finding 2 snookers on a table like this is not going to be an easy thing. And he tries to get the cue ball in behind the green, which I think he's done a decent job of. Just doesn't really want to kiss off the black, which he did get. So yeah, that's going to put the black out of position. And he's also going to get the red closer to the zone where you can actually hit it on the double bounce from the black ball cushion. That's what he's done. That's what he's played for, I should say. And oh, quite close, very close, I would say, to getting that right into the left middle. But it just about stays out there after a late wobble. So you'll have to try and do it again, because he's been in this position before, but I genuinely feel like at this stage he's probably just trying to get a bit of running speed next to his name, and also just getting the pink out of position massively there next to the black. He's not going to boost his chances at all. So I kind of should try and go for this red into the yellow pocket. So play this one with a bit of backspin once again, just to try and keep the cue ball close to the safe position. And he's played this one really well there, there's Joe. And once again, as I say, you know, the opening battle and the opening break-off shot there from Ronnie O'Sullivan, he was quite lucky with one of those snookers he got lined up on Joe O'Connor, but you know, Joe was able to put that behind him, and still Ronnie came out on top on that attempt trying to get that red in, after Joe missed it with a long shot. As he now misses the yellow into the green pocket, so Ronnie won't be coming back to the table this time, because it's not going to have any value at all. And it is Joe O'Connor that once again he's going to lead Ronnie O'Sullivan. Because when I say once again, it's going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan that loses the opening frame here. But you know, ever since that Championship League meeting, it's going to be the first time that Joe O'Connor is going to get a frame on the board here since August in 2025. And yeah, really positive start for him. Although the same can't be said about Ronnie for now. He needs to try and improve on his game, and he needs to do it very quickly. Otherwise, he'll be in deep trouble at that point. So just having a look to see if any of the matches are going to deliver an upset. So Gary Wilson taking the opening frame against C. Wee, and Chris Wakeland trying to do the same thing against Chipchayonu. And Jack Jones and Neil Robertson still battling away there for the opening frame. And yeah, Sullivan will still remain as a favourite, but albeit by a very fractional amount there in terms of the odds. 161 for him to progress to the second round, and 230 for Joe O'Connor to try and do the same thing. So still trying to make his way through. Those opening mistakes there didn't really work, and we have to say that the only major point in that frame was the missing of the blue, because of course O'Sullivan wasn't able to punish his opponent for that mistake on the opening red. And in the end, he's going to be him that comes up short with that 23 points that he scored. And you feel like, you know, if you managed to get that blue into the right middle, you would have had a really good chance to try and do a similar sort of thing there, of making a break of 60 points, which would have killed the frame off, certainly, by that point of the frame. So now just to wait for the referee to announce the second frame here to begin, as Chris Wakeling confirming him that he is going to be the winner of the opening frame. So top seeded players are now just trying to dominate slightly. But Neil Robertson may be able to break that tendency here, as he's currently only 10 points clear, but having Jack Jones at the table and trying to score some valuable points for the Welshman to be representing his country pretty much on his own there after the Welsh putting machine has been knocked out by Jaganda yesterday. Another man from China progressing to the second round. And, this is not going to be too nice there on the cue ball. Had a lot of pace from O'Connor's break-off. And, probably fortunate not to drop that one into the green pocket. Now, let's see what is going to be there to follow from O'Sullivan's point of view. Of course, he'll be disappointed to see his opponent play so well pretty much in the opening frame and take that first chance that came to him at full flow. Maybe that's going to be a slight piece of boost there for him. Try and maybe concentrate on his own game and bring up to the level which, we've already seen demonstrated by Joe O'Connor here. So play this red onto the cross double and, just about avoids the contact on the other red. And may have played a really good shot there, Joe. Just about, I think, Ronnie's going to be able to see at the edge of one of those reds to be taken into the left part of the table, basically. Cannon the cue ball onto the right side cushion instead. And get himself lined up for one of these top ones. It's a brilliant red there that you can barely have noticed there from the camera from Ronnie O'Sullivan. And, certainly from defense to the attack he goes. Wonderful red there that he potted. Of course, always trying to focus on the safety play of the cue ball as well. And just needs to make sure that this chance is going to be the one that hopefully will take him over the line here in the second frame. Taking a bit of time. And this brown to be taken into the green spot. As he plays it with a bit of power, has the cue ball to cannon away. And how good is he going to be on the next shot? It's not too well to be lined up here. But he may just be alright to try and stay on the position. Probably saying no to that. As I say, I think it's difficult to judge from the angle that he's got here. But yeah, he's unable to find the perfect positional play. So unfortunately, that opening red is only going to bring him 5 points here. Of course, slightly different than leaving a chance away to O'Connor, because you always feel like it's, as much as it's disappointing when you run yourself out of positional play, at least you still have that one more shot in the safety to get that cue ball away from the main pack. So O'Connor will try and do basically a similar sort of thing there, although he's just played quite a risky shot. Getting the cue ball once again to touch the green, very much has been the colour for the players to target at the opening part of this frame. And Ronnie just looking at the left-hand side of these reds once again. I mean, he may try to basically do the same thing here with trying to pot this red into the left corner, but also just making sure he gets the cue ball into the safe zone. And at the end, I think he's played a really good shot because he's managed to cover up all the dangerous reds on the left-hand side. Just maybe trying to do the same thing with the one on the right part of the table, because that's going to be the one that Joe O'Connor ultimately is able to play a cross double shot from. So we'll get that cue ball closer to the left corner. Try and push it through this one. Ooh, I think he's going to push one of those reds over the corner pocket, but are they going to be in the way of each other? And somehow, I actually feel like he might have got away with this one. And so you can see Ronnie is very quick and clearly not really happy with the chance that could have been his for the taking. Instead, it needs to be the one taking a safety here. And, I mean, he's just about done that, but with him forcing that cue ball over the left corner, I just feel like he's leaving that opportunity away to O'Connor here. So let's wait for Joe's response. Maybe able to go for the red into the right corner instead. Maybe he's going to try and play a safety shot of it. But if he goes for a safety, may have a very difficult line to try and find, and that's what he's tried. Gets the cue ball off the left and the right side cushion. Yeah, really well played there from Joe. Especially to get so much power on the cue ball that he gets super close to the ball cushion. And that's certainly going to leave Ronnie O'Sullivan thinking about it. And yeah, I can't really see anything easy that might come his way. So he's got all of these 14 reds now that he spotted one. Very much on the left part of the table and on the lower part of it too. So as much as they're going to be very much fixated next to each other, it's also quite difficult to try and find a gap for the cue ball to be sent, especially when it comes to the left part of the table. You might well try to do that, but I feel like his best chance of doing that would have been to try and send the cue ball onto a different part of the table. So let's see what he's done there, because obviously just trying to roll the cue ball onto these reds, I feel like it is going to be slightly one of those shots where he could still lead to a frame loss here. Especially if Joe Connor decides to go for the red into the left or right middle. He probably hasn't got the ability to try and play the shot into the right corner. I think the angle might be too tough for him to be taking this shot on. But the one into the middle, certainly he's there for the taking. That's what he's going to go for. Doesn't have to bridge over the red, which is another reason to try and attempt this red. And just needs to cue this one really well to remain in the colour. And oh, he's gone for a more difficult one and he's missed it. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty surprised with that short selection, especially if he's going to leave a red into the left corner, because that's going to be a really good chance here for Ronnie. And at these points of a position, you know, any points that you score over 40 or 30, you're going to have a great chance of trying to make it a frame for yourself. He now gets the red, the opening red in. Of course, remember, he had that early 5 points of a break, which could be important at this stage. Gets the pink to try and guide it into the left middle, but misses it straight away. So, once again, don't like what we're seeing here. So, you know, seems to work really hard for the chance to try and get in. And in the end, he's going to be on the first colour. A really good chance to score some good points. And once again, going to be very short in his approach there. And yeah, especially how he got into that mistake, into that chance from a mistake there from O'Connor's point of view. That might have actually played a pretty bad shot on the safety side of things as well. Because, you know, his positional play hasn't been too good right now. Judging the previous, red into the middle didn't help. And now he's got himself into a position where he's going to have the pink over the blue. So neither of the colours are going to be possible, and therefore if you're going to go for the yellow, might force yourself to be in a really difficult position here. So his best chance might actually be to try and go for the brown. But he is committed to going for the yellow here, so expect a lot of backspin. You never quite know when this shot's going to go. Certainly seems to go pretty well with the flow of the cue ball. And yeah, he's going to be fine here for this red to be taken into the left middle or the left corner. So once again, a good chance comes and goes there for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And it's O'Connor that might find himself in charge of this position. Still, it's going to be really difficult for him to try and win the frame from this position. But, you know, probably same could have been said about the opening frame. When he was trailing by 23 points, he got himself a chance. In the end, proved to be deciding points of that frame. Once again, having to play for the bold colours on this occasion. And of course, it's not ideal, because he wants to be scoring all the points that he can here before he's going to get to the more of the difficult reds, very much on the left part of the table. So for now, just playing for a couple more of the ones that are going to be available to be potted, without having to get perfectly in behind of them. Once again, finding himself ahead of the frame. Only 2 points advantage, but ultimately, Ronnie, well, listen, unfortunately, it's nothing new that we haven't seen, and you know, that Saudi Masters form, which got him into the final, seems to be a long way from what we're actually seeing on the screens here. Now remember, despite whitewashing O'Connor and you know, playing really well, it seemed like it's been really difficult for Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and replicate this form. For now, Joe O'Connor trying to push the red that I thought could have been available to him anyway, into the left middle, pretty much over the pocket. So going to sacrifice himself slightly on the position for the blue. But still should be able to roll this one into the middle. And that way just try and force the cue ball to be close enough to the red, which he hasn't really done. So he's going to be quite far away from this red, and also the angle to try and hold it for the blue might not necessarily be there either. So the black is massively out the position. The pink is pretty much alongside the blue spot. So maybe just needs to judge the bounce of the side cushion to the extent that he's going to push it into either the blackball cushion, or just have the cue ball to bounce away massively and bring it back to the middle part of the table here. And that's what he's tried. Is that going to work out? I feel like he has, and he has certainly worked out massively there for O'Connor, because it was a bit of a hidden hole shot, but in the end, he could not have played any better for him. He's got 9 points advantage, and basically this black is going to be the one that takes him into a great chance here of taking this red. And very fortunate, as I say, but in the end, he probably deserves it for the shots that he's played already. Getting himself a handful of reds to be available at the top part of the table as well. So still may need a couple more to be in charge of at the left-hand side. But, you know, if you get the 3 reds that he's got available to him right now after that favourable kiss, he's going to have 16 points plus anything that he scores of these 3. So it's going to be around 40 points advantage. And then you never quite know. Maybe enough for him to get just 2 or 3 more reds. But at that point, it is going to be another frame lost there from O'Sullivan's point of view. Still has to concentrate on the reds that he's got available to his name, and he hasn't done so. So, yeah, O'Connor will be disappointed with that. You can see his reaction straight away. I think he might be pretty much replicating what O'Sullivan's done in the opening frame, getting that 23 points of a break. And despite him probably being in charge of a more difficult position, it's still very disappointing to miss a black like that. Into the left corner, it doesn't seem like he was going to have any of those issues at all. And, yeah, Ronnie just having a look himself, because he basically still has got these 2 reds to be in charge of. That's Joe O'Connor would have been playing for anyway. Now the black has covered up the left corner of the table. Tries to hold for the green, and he's just about able to do so. So at this point you have to take anything that goes your way, whether it is going to be a mistake from your opponent or a decent sort of bundle of positional shots for you to play. For now he gets the green into the yellow pocket, maybe placed straight next to the cue ball here. So he's got one more opportunity to try and develop these reds, and he'll have to do it from the pink, you would think. But still, I mean, I can understand what he's trying to do, but I also just would like to see him being careful and try and not force the black over the pocket. Well, certainly wasn't doing that. And you're just about okay here, you know, because, as I say, I think he would have been under a massive threat of playing that black into the left corner alongside the pink, which, of course, would have been massively disappointing for his chances. But, yeah, I say he might have been alright, because I thought he's going to take this red into the right corner, but that doesn't seem to be the way. And just having to play a safety shot instead, needing the cue ball to miss that contact on the green. And just about does it, but I mean, once again, would have liked the cue ball to go further up the table and more importantly, closer to the left side cushion, because this red, that's you know, he's not going to be closest to the black, but he's going to be quite near it. Still going to be playable there from Joe, and you know, the pocket is going to be massively extended by the black and the red combination. So certainly expect this one to be attempted there from his point of view, but he's played it very wrong. And the part of the red that he didn't have to hit was basically trying to hit it on the double bounce. And yeah, just bouncing away from the blackball cushion didn't really help. Let's see if the same red is going to be potable here for Ronnie. Should have some of the pocket to try and aim at, but obviously didn't prove to be enough. Now has the cue ball to bounce away, but not far away there. So after the previous mistake from O'Connor, of course, would have been less costly than that, because, you know, he was always leaving the cue ball very much at the top part of the table, and instead going to have a great chance here to try and get himself back in the scoring board. I mean, 6 points of an advantage, 75 still to play for. And, I mean, if he takes this red into the right corner, he needs to be very precise with the shot that he's taking, but especially with the side spin being applied. Let's see if he's going to be able to get this one in, and he does. So it's a really nice shot, well played. Once again, the cue ball is going to go close to the right side cushion here. And having this pink to be played into the left part of the table, may just see the white drifting across the table, and it just needs to find a side cushion. Doesn't want the cue ball to get stuck in all of these reds, which he has done. So once again, the previous chance was looking really good for O'Connor to try and build some points of a lead. And this time around, of course, it's all about trying to frame away. He's got 13 points as an advantage. And yeah, the gap's probably is only going to get bigger from this point. Although he hasn't really played too good of a shot here, because despite him trying to make contact with these reds in the way, that he's going to leave himself in a better chance to try and positional play for them. He got a couple into the open play, but didn't really disturb the ones that were a biggest problem. So still going to be lined up for the pink here, into the right corner to be taken. Have the cue ball to be played away from the side cushion. And then have probably the last easy red lined up at the left middle. So in terms of the points that he's got 20 as his advantage. So yeah, he's still going to need 3 reds here, starting from here. Taken with colour, so very much a similar story to the first frame one. Just having to try and basically get those reds away from the side cushion. I think that's what he was playing for on the blue. He might have forced himself with slightly too much of an angle here, but despite him compromising himself on the pot, might be even better for him in terms of just get the cue ball onto the black ball cushion and having to bounce away onto the side. And then you're going to have a great chance of this one being taken into the side cushion, which is what happened to him. And well, it's not problematically lined up for this red, but he could have been better. We've got a couple of options here. He's got one into the right corner, which normally would be the easier one. But it's all about just trying to play through this shot, get yourself lined up for the next colour. But he doesn't feel like it's going to be the best option. And then as he looks at the red, closer to the green pocket, yeah, of course, it's a lot easier for him to try and finish this frame away if he takes the more difficult red now. Because as much as it's awkward to be queuing this one, the red is pretty much straight on. The cue ball has got very little distance in between itself and the red. So, ooh, has he got it? I don't think he has. And in the end, clearly, hasn't played the shot well enough for him to be over the line here, O'Connor. And the story of the first frame is not going to be repeated just yet. Ronnie's going to have a great chance of at least trying to get back in this frame here. Having to play the shot off the side cushion. Bounce away onto the pink, which he has done. Not sure if that was the plan though, because as I say, he still needs that red on the side cushion, which O'Connor obviously didn't need at his point. Yeah, he's going to be lined up dead straight on this one. So plays it well though. He gets the pink into the right corner. And it's all about having a look to see the angle that he's going to get on the red here. So clearly committed to stay on the pink to try and make contact to that red next to the side cushion. So that's probably not going to be the best piece of news, because you always want to be playing those shots from the blue. But because he's basically occupying the left part of the table, that's not going to be the case. So very important shot here. The one can ultimately change things altogether here, but he hasn't. And once again, it is Ronnie O'Sullivan unable to make contact with the problem red. Story of the frame against Ali Carter in the second encounter as well. And for now, just bounce the cue ball away onto the side cushion. But this red is going to be very close to the pocket, and he's going to get it in the pocket. Although you might not want to celebrate too much just yet, because well, you probably should celebrate the fact that he didn't leave the red over the pocket. But he's not going to get too many points of this one. So it just pushes the cue ball basically to be onto the green spot. And yeah, very fortunate there from Ronnie, as much as he wasn't getting a lot of that. His match against Carter that I mentioned. Certainly getting a lot of that here. Once in the opening frame where he could have left the red out, instead was Snooker in a corner. And right now he's once again going to find himself as still a threat here for this frame. Despite, I would say, him probably needing to get super close to the total clearance here. Might just about be able to avoid the black, which will be a bit of a boost to his chances. Let's see if he's going to be able to try and cue this one into the yellow pocket. He didn't really try to. He just needs the blue ball to try and come to his rescue again. And has he done so? I'm not sure. I mean, O'Connor doesn't seem like he's too eager to try and get this shot in, but there's no hand of apology there. So Ronnie obviously trying to play this shot. And yeah, O'Connor is going to be slightly scrutinised here. This is turning out to be a very interesting frame. Of course, it's going to be a lot more interesting for me if Ronnie goes on to win this frame. Especially for the neutral as well. You know, just to see more and more action of these frames. And O'Connor, meanwhile, has played a really good shot on the yellow. Getting that one as close to the ball cushion as he probably could have. Still getting the cue ball into the safe zone. So Ronnie, I think, will try and target the brown. As the shot with backspin. In the end, that hasn't really worked out. So needs the pink to maybe try and come to his rescue here. And it certainly has, to the extent, because as much as you can still see this yellow, you're going to see at the way that it's going to be very difficult for you to try and avoid the contact on the pink. As the cue ball bounces away there. So let's see how much timing is he happy to take here. So it doesn't seem like he needs too much, although, so as I say that, is get down to hit the shot, and he's gone back up there straight away. So now attempt number 2. Really seems to be dominating the safety play here, but of course it's all going to be proven nothing if O'Connor finds his way out of the position again, which he has. Now needs the cue ball to be putting a bit of distance in between this yellow, and he has, so played the shot really well. As much as he has left a long shot available. I'll be very surprised if Ronnie takes this one on. Just try and stay in charge of the position here, which he barely has. As long as the cue ball gets past his green. And, well, it's not perfect for him, but it may not be the worst news in the world. I think it's really close for this yellow to be potable into the left. Wow, it's really close, but I think Ronnie just about got away with this one again. And I've been saying that way too many times for my liking. But as much as he was dominating the safety play, the fact that he got there in the first place because of a fluke situation doesn't really put a lot of credit on the safety game that he's played. So 11 points is still the advantage here for O'Connor, but getting that cue ball very close next to the right part of the table. Has he managed to snooker Ronnie though on this yellow? The answer seems to be yes. So having to play as further rounds the pink and the green and the blue combination, and in the end probably fortunate not to give a free ball. Very disappointing there from a short selection. And despite him missing a blue by a bit of distance, he still catches the green. That's going to give 4 points away to his opponent. And of course, he can't be doing that too much because he basically got himself an extra shot that he has to play. That pink to black contact wasn't necessary at some point, and it's going to take a bit of time for us to get back to square one for the brown and the green to be respotted. Which, of course, these were the main two that got disturbed in the previous shot there made by Ronnie. So assistant referee just making sure that she can do their best. And yeah, so the green slightly needs to be further away from his spot. So slightly further away there. Yeah, so a bit of a delay, but I feel like as long as we don't see the repeat of that frame against Sally Carter, where Ronnie just kept making the mistake. I think it was frame number 6. Frame number 7, I should say. And ultimately cost him the end result in that frame. So just, yeah, trying to find our way through this green. And then it is going to be, once again, the respot of the cue ball. And then attempt number 2 coming up. Slightly surprised if Ronnie doesn't go for the shot basically trying to get the yellow off the side cushion, because as much as you're always going to be risking slightly more of giving that yellow away, you know, you also risk of giving a free ball away, which will be even worse situation at this stage, especially with the way that you basically cannon the cue ball into both green and brown at the same time. So it's just the referee trying to respot the white for now, as he has a look to see if he's going to be happy with this position. Of course, can't really argue with his knowledge too much. So let's see what response from Ronnie is going to come here. Seems to be happy with it. But yeah, as I say, he's going to be playing this one off the side cushion. So see if he's just going to try and roll this cue ball in towards the yellow. And I think he's played the shot just about well enough, although there still can be a chance of Joe O'Connor going for this yellow into the pocket. But I think he might just have to try and get the white in behind the brown here instead, which was the shot that he's played. And it's quite interesting to see that short selection there being made from him, because he's risking of giving this yellow away as a chance here for Ronnie to try and hit. And he's hit this one quite well. I was going to say really well, but then I realised this yellow is going to be potable into the middle. So, because O'Connor's got 15 points of a lead, so he needs the bold colours. And he's going to be away nicely into taking this frame. So, it's quite difficult for you to judge whether you're going to be able to go for the yellow. But probably has to go for it now. It's going to be a really interesting shot now for us to see. And could that damage on the snooker be done this time around? And it's going to be close, but it is going to be in there from him. So, still not perfectly lined up on the green, which, as far as I'm aware, he's still going to need the brown for. But as he gets the yellow, that should be the ultimate milestone for him to have this frame number 2 accomplished, and certainly by his side now. So just a lot of left-hand side needed for this green, and yeah, he's able to find enough of the power to get himself a chance here. Doesn't need the position on the blue. So 20 points advantage, 22 at the table. And just try and get this one in, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then it is going to be a 2-0 cushion for Ronnie to try and find his way out of once again. And that is the case. So, for all the fights, for all the drama, it is still Joe O'Connor that comes away very much on top of that frame. And Ronnie O'Sullivan leaves himself in a very difficult position for this match once again. And, you know, the stories of before, where O'Sullivan pretty much can be starting those frames with 2-0 down, coming very much alive here, and it is Joe O'Connor that finds himself and at the top of his game here. Although he didn't have to play all of it throughout those 2 frames. He's still going to lead Ronnie O'Sullivan by 2 frames to 0, and well, certainly become the favourite for this match to be taken his way. Meanwhile, on the other tables, you've got Chris Wakeland very much dominating Chip Chayonu right now. He gets himself an early chance in the 3rd frame as well to try and extend that lead even further. Gary Wilson against Si Jiahui is being played at 1 frame each. And Jack Jones is still leading Neil Robertson by 1 frame to 0. And he's actually the one having the chance to try and make it quite far here into the 3rd frame as well. So it's all or nothing now. I think the mentality has to be from Ronnie, because as much as, you know, he's been getting a lot of luck, he wasn't able to convert it into any one of those frames. And it's Joe O'Connor that finds himself pretty much in a comfortable position here in both of these frames. You know, Sullivan had an early chance in both of these. Had a red mist in the 2nd frame from O'Connor's point of view. And then he had, of course, that red mist into the long shot range. That got him into that break of 23 points, which still, unfortunately for him, remains to be the highest scoring point of this match. So O'Connor, I think, just playing the safety game really well, forcing O'Sullivan to be into the zone, which he's never really been a fan of. And yeah, let's see if the answer is going to be there to follow from Ronnie's point of view. But yeah, he's been trying to get a lot of match fitness before the Crucible, but it seems like he needs to get match fitness before the matches of this kind actually starts to get underway. So let's see if he's going to be the case here. He's finally going to be able to find his way back in this match here and still try and get himself as very much the favourite force for the next couple of frames. Of course, if he is to go to the intermission with it being 2 frames each, he's still going to have a great chance, but for that to be the case, now he needs to win a frame or 2, and he needs to do it right now. Otherwise, he's going to be in a lot more trouble than he already finds himself with, because remember, 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline in any sport that you think about it, and especially in snooker, for a first to 5, you still stand a good chance of coming back and playing your best snooker here. Let's see if that's going to be the case there, because if Ronnie needs to try and find a better chapter for himself, it needs to be now or never. Otherwise, the repeat of Ali Carter will be very much there for once again for him. For now, it's a break-off shot to try and play, as he got a bit of sticker issue at the top part of his queuing process. So just trying to find the white to go quite far enough up the top part of the table. And he's played the shot really well, to be fair. I mean, he got a couple of those reds to be an open play, but with the cue up being pretty much as close to the ball cushion as he can be, still think he can be happy with this one. Especially felt like with him being slightly in too much of a rush there. Especially having that sticker problem force him to maybe take a step backwards on it. And let's see if the safety shot from O'Connor is there to follow, because I still feel like there might be a way for Ronnie to get through to this red into the right part of the table. So that look was probably fortunate from O'Connor's point of view, because he still finds a way of these 2 reds to be in the way of the cue ball. So Ronnie just doesn't feel like he's going to go for any more of those risky shots here. So just playing basically the red, which would have been over the pocket, but playing it from the side cushion. So he just forced it down the table, and of course that way you're still going to leave a red into the left middle to be available, but at least you're not going to be leaving 100% of a chance to your opponent here at the right part of the table. So O'Connor might have a chance to try and force the red into the middle without sacrificing too much on the pace of the white. But there's no surprise that he's trying to play a safety shot. Has he managed to play it well enough, though, for him to be covering the right part of the table? I think he just about has, but probably through no great achievement of his own. It's just the red that he's played for has actually gone in the way of the other red, which is going to force Ronnie to play another safety here. As much as he was getting the luck on the previous couple of frames, he's not getting any now. And yeah, he may have to pay for this mistake though, because he's going to contact the red, which wasn't really part of the plan, close to the side cushion. And this red may be possible here into the left corner, so play a bit of backspin on the cue ball. Try and get it into the left side cushion. And then he's going to be in a good position there from O'Connor's point of view, because he's still going to have so many of those reds available to him, and he gets this red in. So once again, it's a new frame, but this time around, to add to that 2-0 of a cushion that he's got already next to his name, this time around he's going to be him that gets the first chance here, and he actually takes it this time. So yeah, he's been the Championship League finalist this season already, to pretty much equal their finals total that Ronnie O'Sullivan's had. So I think he was going to be slightly disappointed with the way that he got that cue ball to bounce away so slightly away from the side, because the red that he's still got available into the left corner might be proven to be slightly too difficult for him to be taking on, purely for the reason of the cue ball having to be bounced away massively off the side. And yeah, that's what he's played for, massive bounce, and that didn't work. He got this red to bounce away. Ronnie's going to be back at the table, and this time around it's Joe O'Connor that's going to score only 6 points here and get himself back to his seat. Ronnie should be taking the same red into the left corner, and he is able to do so. So play the shot really nicely. So still the ball colours are going to be there for Ronnie to be taken. As much as, you know, seem to have very contrasting styles here in between the 2 players. They might seem to be played in a similar way there. Of just a matter of who's going to be making less of mistakes there from the 2 players, and will Ronnie Don't think he's going to be too happy with the bounce that he got there. And once again, maybe another positional misjudgment there for him. And there's the confirmation. It is going to be another positional misjudgment. So he's trying to develop a black into the open play. Of course, feeling like he's always going to be lined up for the red. And in the end, that didn't prove to be the case. So let's see if he's going to be able to recover with a good safety shot, as seems like he has. But as I say, I've said that before. It didn't necessarily work out to be true. So 2 points advantage here for O'Connor. And the two reds that you should be worried about there are Sullivan. Certainly the ones that Joel will try and target here. Although he may just be going for the left part of the pink bundle instead. That's what he has tried. And yeah, we are going to get a great concentration of these reds right next to the right corner pocket. But I think this time around, and yeah, I thought Ronnie was going to be able to get through to that red. In the end, that is not the case. So another shot once again there for him to be taking on. He's got a lot of colours to try and get the cue ball in behind of, but also just needs to be mindful of the bounce of the cue ball. And I think he's managed to do it really well with the right part of the reds. It's all about the left part that Joe O'Connor can try and do something with. Still very low-paced frame here from both of the players' point of view, but of course that's going to be working out in favour of Joe O'Connor. Sullivan's still unable to get any sort of rhythm out the way for himself, and you know, with all the struggles that he had earlier this season so far, this certainly seems to be the lowest point of them all. Just unable to string any more than 23 points next to his name is not going to be a great stat next to him. And quite lucky there, O'Connor, after a safety shot, just pushes the cue ball close enough to the right part of the table. So that O'Sullivan is not able to see the most dangerous of the reds. And I have to say, this is going to be quite a puzzle for one of the players to solve there when they get themselves into this position, because as much as you've got all of these reds available, you're also going to be quite short on the colours from the right point, certainly. Now, if he's able to get that cue ball past the pink and just get it far enough up the table, may force O'Connor to be taking a difficult shot on instead. And I think he's tried to play this shot pretty well there, you know. He's got a couple of reds, which both of them could have been taken into the right corner, but instead he's going to be available for O'Connor to basically disturb both of them without potting them. So wouldn't be surprised, especially with that 2-0 cushion. The thing about O'Connor now, he needs to try and make sure he doesn't leave an early invitation away to Ronnie O'Sullivan before he gets himself something close to a 70% of a chance and basically cannot not take it. So yeah, the fact that he's looking at the right part of the table to try and deal with, probably suggesting that Ronnie's been able to get out of jail this time, which probably wasn't easy, especially with the lucky cannon that Joel got on the previous shot. And yeah, great concentration of these reds, all of them pretty much alongside or lower than the pink spot, and vast majority located right by the right corner as well, which is where Joel O'Connor's looking at right now. But probably only for the reason of, you know, the safety shot for him to play has to be off the left part of the table, but the angle that he needs for that may actually be blocked off there for him. So still, no solution made. And, because every single second probably plays to the fortune of Ronnie O'Sullivan now, because he would really love another mistake here from O'Connor. I can't say that he didn't have any, and still wasn't able to put any more points on the board than 23 at the same visit to the table, but still no response there from Joe. Still we have him looking for the right corner. And yeah, the body language and certainly the reaction that he's got certainly doesn't suggest that he's got anything easy lined up for him. But he needs to try and do something about it, and it looks like we're about to find out what it's going to be. So the very thin shot on the edge of one of those reds. Maybe that's going to be the way forward for him. Has he found the perfect line? I think he has, but still I don't think he's going to be too happy with himself there. It may just about be alright there. Once again, I thought the cue ball was going to bounce away from the bulk just about far enough for that red by the corner to be available there to Ronnie. Instead, he left him an easier red to try and do something with. Let's see what Ronnie's going to be able to do with this one. He catches the blue pretty much full in the face, and that's not going to help his chances, although might actually be blocking off a good chunk of the part on the right part of the table. It doesn't certainly feel that way. And, well, yeah, he's very fortunate there, I have to say, because there was no hand of apology, so I suggested to myself that that red is going to be available into the right corner, but Joe very quick to be basically saying, no, it's not. Forcing another couple of reds to be in the way of each other. And now getting nice little traction on the cue ball once again. So Ronnie just trying to keep himself going the safe route every single time here. And yeah, I mentioned that we've had so many of these reds by the right corner. Well, we pretty much have got 90% zone of them now. And well, yeah, all seem to be just creating a massive pile of reds here, which is never nice for the players to be playing their shots through, because despite Joe actually might be able to go in for this red into the right corner, he's still going to have a very difficult job of getting probably 5 or 6 reds here all into the right pocket, although I suppose the more you pot into that pocket, the easier it's going to get for you. Having to bridge over the brown doesn't help, but he plays a really good shot in terms of getting that red right into the pocket, so just needs a bit of angle on the yellow to try and find himself with, and he's not going to get a great deal of it, but he doesn't really need a great deal. Just try to send it somewhat close to the lower part of the table and then try and work it out from there. You know, you can always try and send the cue ball in behind the yellow as well, so it's all going to be dependent on just how much of the angle he's got. But it clearly feels like he's going to be trying to take this yellow into the pocket. And he does take it into the pocket, so had clearly enough angle to force the cue ball down the table. So let's see how many points he's going to be able to score from here. For now, a red and yellow combination will certainly start to add up shortly. Problem is, of course, he's going to have the one red, which is not going to be on the right part of the table here, is going to be the one covering the black to go into the left corner as well, which doesn't really help the case massively. So maybe just a big bounce on the cue ball's point of view, and onto the black he'll go. Yeah, the case, as I say, the fact that he has to go all the way to the yellow spot and may try to get the ping back on his spot as well doesn't really help, because it doesn't help him from 2 perspectives, because he's going to be scoring the minimum number of points here, but also just having that very difficult of path for the cue ball to be returning to the top part of the table every single time. And of course with that comes the necessity of trying to bring it down as well. So for now, Connor just getting that rest out. And well, having a look if he's going to be able to go for the pink into the green pocket. And yeah, a bit of traction on the cue ball certainly wouldn't mind there for him, but he's played it with too much power. Now where's the pink going to go? He's, well, basically sent it over the right corner pocket. Has he managed to get away with this one? Oh, ooh, I mean, that's fortunate as he's ever going to get there for him. Because as much as he played this pink with a lot of power and missed it by a bit of margin, he still somehow wasn't able to get any one of those reds away to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And yeah, Ronnie's forced to go for a safety battle once again, which just seems like he's going to be playing perfectly to the hands of Joe Connor, because pretty much every single battle in the safety part of things, and well, in the point scoring as well, in the opening 2 frames has been won by Joe here. And he's got another good chance here of trying to just hit this red, well, thin enough on the edge to force it over the corner pocket, although he caught the black on the way down the table as well, so that didn't really help the case. Now let's see if Ronnie's going to be able to get through this red and try and pot it into the right corner pocket right now. Feels like he's going to go for it. Maybe trying to find a plant as well. And that's what he's played for. Now needs the cue ball to bounce away, because he doesn't have that red into the pocket. And has he bounced away far enough the table? Don't think he has. but at least he gave himself some sort of an opportunity to come back to the table, though I think it'll massively depend on the fact if Joe O'Connor is able to bridge over the brown without compromising himself. It doesn't look like that's the case. Still going to try and take this red, though. That's not going to help his case of trying to be lined up for the next colour either. He takes the red really nicely, but is he going to be on the pink because the black has been cannoned away? I think he is going to be on the pink, you know. Although the way that he's looking at the top part of the table probably would suggest otherwise. So just, yeah, having a look at the position that he's got on the yellow and blue. Probably might not be able to get to the pink in that way. And once again, it's another break of just a single point there. But we are getting through those reds. I would say that we've had 5 of them to disappear already. Although I also want to just say that 71 minutes for 2.5 frames. Certainly not going to be playing to the advantage of Ronnie, because as much as he wants to be, again, a lot of table time and get a bit of match fitness next to his name, I bet he's not going to be involved with all of these safety battles. But I suppose the argument can be made that he's not been able to take his chances either. So he has to try and work his way for the new opportunities, which still doesn't seem like they're going to be coming his way. So this red is going to be taken there by O'Connor in terms of attempting into the right corner, but he's not able to get this one in, and also has got a big bounce on the cue ball. Let's see if Ronnie is going to be going for a shot into the same pocket. Slightly more favourable of an angle that he's got. And, well, certainly didn't turn out to be that way, because as much as he had a good angle to try and make his way through, he catches that red way too thick. And on the bounce back of the cue ball, he's going to catch another red. Basically going to leave it over the middle. And once again, the story of the previous couple of frames will continue. And it is Joe O'Connor very much back at the game here. Trying to play this shot with loads of backspin. Get the cue ball to be lined up closer to the pink. And, well, once again, it's another chance there that he's going to go the way of O'Connor. And as much as he's been clinical with those on the first encounter of these two, hasn't really done so in frame number 2. Neither he has in this frame so far, but I feel like just the fact that he's got the mental advantage on Sullivan quite massively here, I would say. And Ronnie has not been able to string 2 pots together pretty much since the very start of this frame, which feels like it's been quite a long way back now. Should be having this position, not to win him the frame probably, but certainly to get him enough point advantage to be lined up far enough ahead there for Ronnie O'Sullivan not to be worried too much about all of these reds, because he still has got a lot of them on the side cushions, but also he has got 2 or 3 reds that he's going to be able to make his way through quite easily into the right or left corner pockets as he gets another pink into the left part of the table for now. So 21 point advantage, 91 still very much at the table here for the players. And yeah, as much as I said, 2-0 was still going to be a scoreline to potentially recover there from Ronnie O'Sullivan's point of view. 3-0 is going to be a lot less so, especially if he's going to continue to play like this. 26 points now. There's going to be for Connor. He's going to be taking the blue onto the left middle and put it back on his spot now. So, yeah, just needs a bit of the bounce for the cue ball, but also needs it to miss the pink, which I don't actually feel like he's done too well at. And he forces himself to be having slightly more of an angle than he would have liked. So, probably suggesting that he can't access the red onto the right part of the table instead. And, yeah, he feels like he's undercut this one badly. And is he going to be having a pink in the way of that red? Well, he has a really good look at it. But as I say, quite disappointing from his point of view, because that was a really good chance for him to try and make his way through. And no, the fact that Ronnie has got this red looking up very closely into the right corner. See if he's going to have that red visible to him into the left part of it instead. And is he going to get a fluke into the right corner? No, he won't. So just trying to play a safety shot, but once again, just not doing enough there. Very fortunate there, O'Connor, from the previous encounter that red was not visible to O'Sullivan. It feels like that temporary miss is not really going to result in anything. It's going to be O'Connor back to the table because this red is more difficult to miss than it is to pot. It's all about the position, which is not really going to get in full flow here. And I love this fourth one from Brazil. Yes, Melo Diaz. You've got the Igor Figueiredo and Johan Luz, I think you've got from the Brazil on the tour. And it's certainly a great sport. As I say, probably doesn't do enough justice to itself in terms of the advertisement and stuff. But hopefully that will be a sign of things to come as we get the newer players on the tour. And of course, Joe O'Connor, one of these younger players, is technically not quite as young as someone like Chang Min Yu, but once again, I mean, he is going to be a very fortunate escape there from O'Connor because as much as he misses the blue into the left middle, he was trying to put it all on the line there for him to get in contact on those reds. In the end, he's unable to do so. And yeah, it goes back to O'Connor here this turn. Once again, Ronnie's just able to make sure he's not going to have any one of these reds over the pockets. And was that going to stop here, Joe O'Connor? Because he may have to fluke a red into the left corner right now. So that leaves a chance away to Ronnie. I'm not going to say that it's going to be the first chance in this frame, but at least he should be getting a red from this position, which is a start. Then the position of black certainly will help. Try and get on the next couple of reds. Try and at least bring that gap down. Although I still feel like it is going to be all about this break here and now. Because as much as O'Connor hasn't really been playing too much of the top of his safety game, he's still been able to avoid those easy reds to be given away. So Ronnie just having a look at the chance that he's got. Maybe taking that red into the left corner pocket. For now playing a shot with loads of side spin. Trying to make his way through onto the next red. And yeah, of course, as much as he's going to be struggling, he still needs to be taking chances like that away. At least to some extent. Be able to work out just how much and how many of the points he'll be able to score. How much of the deficit to try and cut in between himself and his opponent. For now he's got the first real test to come his way. The red to be taken alongside the black ball cushion. It should be, well, it's not quite exactly on the cushion, which may make the shot slightly more difficult, and he has. Once again, the first real test, and it's O'Sullivan that comes undone. So 16 points scored, which is not far away from his best break of the match. And once again, another player that he's going to be looking at that red very closely into the right corner. And I do have to say, with the previous approach from Ronnie, clearly was thinking that red was going to be possible, because I can't really see the way that he was going to get himself lined up for that red. So, in terms of trying to cannon it away from the side cushions, I'm clearly just trying to play a positional shot in behind of it. And that's probably something that Joe O'Connor will be looking to try and do. Because once again, doesn't really change the mentality for him massively. It's all about these three reds. I think he's going to need pretty much all of them. Might be able to get away with two, to be fair, because if he gets the black in, well, it seems to be really close, but with both of the players having such a close look at it, might actually be able to just about squeeze that one through, closer to the left part of that cushion. Pocket, I should say. But in the meantime, he's going to have to be taking the pink into the left middle, and he's been able to do so. So once again, it's going to be really interesting to see. Clearly played for that red to be taken into the right corner pocket. So, it still feels like it's a very important shot now for this frame to unfold. And, well, from this position, I have to say, it feels like it goes without problem, but it's going to be a lot closer than that. And he is able to take it. To be fair, he is taking that one with no problem at all. Doesn't seem like he's going to be happy with the way he got on the black here, though. So, 20 points advantage. 43 at the table, so this is not going to be enough there. He can try and take the black into the right corner, but he may have to just play a safety shot instead. Because as much as you want 7 points, it's not really going to mean anything to you. Because if you get those two reds anyway, you know, it's going to be a frame to you no matter what happens, as long as you take them with colours. So 20 points advantage is still going to be quite healthy, and I think he's going to trade a chance of make the black in. Maybe just put one of these colours safe, which is what he's tried to do with the yellow. Because slightly surprising short selection, because if Ronnie gets one of those reds in, not even going to be talking about two, O'Connor's going to be needing the yellow himself. So I feel like he could have done that with the green. And also he didn't really get too good of a safety there to be played. Didn't force O'Sullivan to be taking too much time. Taking a cross double, which I think he'll follow up with as well. Having this shot to be played across the table and closer to the left part of it. As the red to bounce away just about far enough from the pocket. So Ronnie once again having to play this one thin on the edge and diagonally across the table. Though he has played it with another mindset. He didn't think that he was going to get too thin on the edge there, which would have put the red over the corner pocket. In the end, he was able to get a good bounce. Just has that red in playable position, but with the cue ball so close to the green pocket, I think it's really unlikely that O'Connor will try and attempt this red into the pocket. Although I do have to say, I can't really see another option there for him to be taking on. And that's what he's tried. So he's played for this red, and where is he going to bounce away? It's going to be quite close to the corner pocket, and he'll be over the yellow pocket. So, once again, another chance here. Not going to say it's a gift. The yellow and the second red are going to be certainly a problem here for Ronnie, but once again, it is a chance for him to try and take this frame from the opposition player. 19 points advantage here for O'Connor. But, well, Sullivan will be certainly hoping to put that one to the end. As he rolls the pink in nicely, so I feel like he's managed to give himself a really good chance of trying to sort this red out. Basically get it into the right corner. As long as he's not straight, he should be fine in it. Well, I mean, it's quite close to being straight. Plays the red well enough, though. So he's on the black, so it's all down to the yellow. And then just that transitional shot from the blue, which still may have to come at some point during this break. But yeah, as I say, getting that red along the black cushion, as much as probably will feel like it's a simple shot for Ronnie to play usually, but still it had to be played. And don't really like the fact that Ronnie's looking to play this here along the side cushion, because it is going to be a very difficult shot for him to try and land on. So get the black in first. And he was trying to play for the cannon, and I have to say, to be fair, I understand why he was thinking about taking that yellow along the side cushion, because he's played that black absolutely perfectly and still unable to get any sort of touch on this yellow. So once again, it's a battle for the yellow, and he does have a great reminder of that frame of against Ali Carter at 2-0 when he was battling for the colours. In the end, unfortunately for Ronnie, Carter was able to take that frame. And well, this time around, and by the way, it was the yellow taken by Ronnie O'Sullivan, which didn't really help his case too much. And then it was the green, which was perfectly taken by Carter. Got him that frame number 3 win. Got him into that lead, which ultimately, I have to say, won him the match at that point as well. So has Ronnie played a good enough safety shot? Well, he certainly has to force this mistake from Joe O'Connor, which feels like he can afford to be taking those chances. But is he going to be feeling that now? Because this yellow, he's going to be in a playable position here for Ronnie. Come on, Ronnie, you can try and do this one. He's played a really good shot on the yellow, to be fair. He got nice little action on the cue ball, and he's going to be perfectly lined up on the green. So, as I said previously, all about that blue to the pink. I don't think you'll even need the black there, although it's going to be on this spot. And yeah, it's just 3 more shots needed. He's going to be 4 points clear now, as he takes the brown on, which still shouldn't be taking your eye off the pot too much. He's able to do it for now, so all comes down to the blue. You know, try and power the cue ball through this blue to get yourself lined up for this pink. And it seems like he's done all the hard work, so just the pink to finish it off. And finally, for the first time in a while, win the 3rd frame, which still feel like a bit of a win there for him. And he's able to do so. It's not quite his highest break of the match, which still probably feel like a bit of disappointment, but it's a break of 20 points, which gets him over the line. And it is finally something to cheer on there from Ronnie O'Sullivan and his fans. He wins the 3rd frame. Against all the odds, I have to say, it's very surprising to see that mistake from Joe O'Connor. Going from that reckless red into the yellow pocket with no insurance at all. And Ronnie just showing that he shouldn't be able to do so. And he's now back in the hunt. 1.5 hours, by the way, since the match has started, which probably will feel like, you know, pretty much all the table time that he got against Ali Carter already with all those safety battles. But at least he's still in there with a shout. He's going to be back in amongst the favourites. And it is Jack Jones having 2-1 lead against Neil Robertson. C. Wee having a 2-1 lead against Gary Wilson. And Chris Wakelin, by the way, running away with it badly. Another break of 40 plus points for him. And he should be getting a 4-0 lead against Chip Chai on this. So it's not really going too well for the player from Thailand. Yes, Wild Goose, it certainly is going to be a rocket launch. And let's just hope that he's going to be able to keep that pace going for him. I still think he needs to get himself a decent chance at the start of the 4th frame. But if it's going to be 2 frames each, he's still going to be in a great chance of trying to come alive at the second part of this match and trying to put all the pressure back onto Joe O'Connor. Because as a rolling snooker, when you're playing well, your opponent can't be playing as well as you are. And therefore, you're going to stand a really good chance against the opposition. And it's all about trying to utilise this chance now for Ronnie Vasello. It's certainly there for him. Let's see if he's going to be able to take it with the 4th frame about to unfold. But I have to say, from his point of view, I'll be very much looking forward to the response from both of the players, really, because it's not like O'Connor has been playing the game of his life. Probably was in the 1st frame. He had 1 chance, 1 frame win. Not so much in frame number 2, and especially frame number 3, where he was leading pretty much throughout 90%, if not 100% of that frame. And with that pink in the end, a very clutch break there from O'Sullivan, despite it only being the break of 19 points. And you could say that yellow was not the hardest shot he had to play. Still had to be perfect on the green. You know, the transition shot from the blue onto the pink was there for the taking for him as well. Certainly going to be one of the dramatic frames to be putting on in the compilation there of the official World Snooker Tour channel. O'Connor now just waiting for Ronnie to come back to the table. Needs a decent size break to get the confidence. Yes, he does. So that 20 and 23 points is not going to do the work for him. It needs something that he had against Carter in the 4th frame, actually, because there was a break of 93 points. As much as still wasn't quite able to make a century break, making 2 breaks of 93 against Long Zhehyun and Ali Carter. It is Ronnie that makes his way back onto the arena to certainly delighten the applause of the crowd. They would have enjoyed it, by the way, you know, as much as it might not be the funniest match to watch. When you've got so much tension, so much drama, it's always something that, you know, you always feel like you're going to get your money worth of tickets. Let's see if it's a good break-off shot by O'Connor. It certainly is. The fact that he got the black into a bad position certainly going to help. And, well, Ronnie feels like he's going to be able to try and build on this. And he'd certainly be if he plays shots like that. Brilliant long shot. And he's going to be landing on the collar surely now. Just needs the cue balls to slow down. And, yeah, this is certainly going to be the way forward for Ronnie O'Sullivan. As I say, the fact that O'Connor somehow got the black to be covered up by those reds of the break-off shot, which you don't always see, is going to compromise him slightly. But if Ronnie's going to be getting himself into that playing well mood, still, that 2-0 of a gap is not going to be enough there for O'Connor. Although he's overplayed slightly for this red, so just needs to try and utilise this chance to full extent. Really good shot once again on the red. He's on a break of 5 points here, and all of that is going to add up. As soon as he makes a good position there for himself, he still has got a couple of reds to try and work his way through. Of course, having those with no black or pink compromises his chances massively to get this frame 1 in the single visit to the table. As he plays the green for the second time of asking, just needs the cue ball to slow down for this red. And, well, he's not going to be able to get that. So, good news is he's going to have the red onto the left part of the table to be taking on as well. He takes 2 reds away here, so he, of course, should still be keeping count on those. because the ones that I can see, he's probably going to have 2 more reds available to him as he plays the black onto the side cushions. That's not really going to be the plan. And I can't really see him trying to get contact on the black in any shape or form. So obviously just trying to force the cue ball to get past the black didn't really work out. And I mean, I can't believe what I was watching there, but that's going to be the shot of the tournament for a double. He's just played a double, pretty much full power into the left corner, and he's still got this one in. I mean, that's going to be incredible confidence there from Ronnie O'Sullivan. And, well, the fact that he's doing that whilst being 9 points clear, it's certainly going to be maybe a sign of him playing quite well. Although, just as I say that, played a really bad shot on the red. Oh, well, don't know if he got overexcited. It's not really his thing to do. But he certainly got overambitious with that red. And because he missed it so thin, potentially can leave a red out to O'Connor. And, you know, something that O'Connor's done in the previous frame, O'Sullivan mustn't do himself. Underestimate your opponent. You know, he's had that break of 64 points to go with the opening frame. And he's going to be back at the table here. So he gets this red in. The black is going to be available. So, yeah, I just hope that Ronnie's not going to be punished too much here. To the extent of him playing the last shot at this frame. Because as much as he had a decent chance at the start of this frame, he didn't have the black on his spot. He didn't have too many of those reds. And he was able to take a couple of those away. Still has 115 points here at the table, O'Connor. So we've had 4 reds eliminated, about to make it 5. And the first couple of shots are going to be super important for him to just keep touch of the cue ball. Although I actually thought he might be able to get a couple of reds into the open play of the shot, and he wasn't able to. So he probably will have 5 tries more there to his name. As he plays the black into the right corner. So this time around he's going to have 4 more of those tries. So blue's out of position, which probably would have been the perfect shot for him to be taking on. Straight into the pink, and yeah, just these reds to be taken into the left part of the table with the cue ball to be played through this red and on for the black. Just about rolls this one in, but I feel like he's going to be forced to try and go into the bunch. But also he's going to be doing that from an angle which doesn't really suit the positional shot like that. So yeah, just trying to get this black into the right corner as well. Don't forget about that. A lot of backspin. Probably just adding to the pressure of this shot. This is going to be a massive one for this frame. And, well, I thought so. Let's see if it is going to be a massive one. Is Joe O'Connor able to get through to this red into the right middle or left corner? And the way that he's looking at this red, the answer probably has to be no. So he'll be disappointed with that. You know, he got more points than O'Sullivan, but he did have the perfect position to go with it. And probably as good as it's ever going to get there for him at the start of the frame. You cannot have expected all of these reds to be in perfect position, and probably unlucky not to get onto a red into the left corner or the right middle. But in the end, you're right, your own luck. And it is going to be 8 points of an advantage here for Joe O'Connor. And Ronnie O'Sullivan just having to play the cue ball into those reds. Get the white away to the top part of the table. Having to bounce away onto the ball cushion. And once again, it is a free shot there, which Joe O'Connor was always going to get. That red that he pushed onto the top part of the table previously. He was always going to send it to the lower part of the table now. But I say that, feels like he needs to make sure he got enough of the power on this red not to be visible there by O'Sullivan, and he has. So Ronnie just with a thin shot trying to maybe get the pink into play, which is not really going to be part of his plan, just the way that this shot is going to go. And it looks like he's played this shot absolutely perfectly on there, covering up the left-hand side of all of these reds. So just a couple on the right-hand side for O'Connor to work with. But I do feel like, had it not been for that mistake on the long red that he was taking, O'Sullivan still feels, well, must feel like he's very fortunate to come back to the table, because you have to say, especially with that form that O'Connor was showing in the first frame, like it could have been the end there for O'Sullivan's campaign in this particular frame, and he may have to be taking on a long red, which is going to be all or nothing shot. Once again, massive pressure on this, because of a couple of reds being over the left corner. He needs to get it, and he does get it. Brilliant. Now, where's the position on the cue ball? It's perfectly on the black, and it is another thing of absolute beauty there from Ronnie O'Sullivan. So, is he going to be right back in this one? Takes the black straight away without taking a breather at all. So he's clearly trying to get himself into a bit of match fitness and just rhythm of playing well, which is always going to be the main point for him to be talking about at his post-match interview. But you don't really get that one in the first round as a loser. So you better make sure that you try your best to progress to the second round. And now he takes the black as well into the right corner. He's clearly playing with a bit of pace. And surely that's going to be a suggestion of him playing with a bit of confidence as well. So he's got this red to be taken into the left corner, which probably is going to be the last of the easy ones. But he still has got a couple, which are not going to be too difficult either for him to try and make his way through. For now, just don't take any shot for granted. Concentrate on it well enough so that you're going to be taking this chance away. Because I have to say, if Ronnie doesn't take it, O'Connor will certainly be able to pounce for this one. He's got all of these reds away from the side cushions. And Ronnie needs to make sure by the point that O'Connor steps back to the table, it's either going to be after the intermission or it's going to be at the point where he needs a handful of those snookers. Takes the black well into the right corner. So 67 points still at the table. And Ronnie just getting those reds in a straight line for him. Playing all of them with the black will certainly help as he gets himself the highest break of the match. You can barely keep up with him on the scoreboard. Plays the cue ball slightly further away from the black this time, but still able to take it. And the break of 40 points to try and go with it. You can see the scoreboard of the official broadcast as well. Can't clearly keep up with Ronnie here, but he is getting very close to the finish line. He's 33 points clear. He's got these black to be taken into the right corner, which will force him into a chance of having a shot at the frame ball very, very soon. It just needs the red and the black combination. That should put him more than 43 points clear of his opponent. And he's going to stay for the paint, so that's going to be a shot for it to be 2 frames each. 41 points ahead. Make that 47 points ahead. And Ronnie O'Sullivan is going to be getting into an intermission with it being 2 frames each. So certainly a great performance and a fantastic long red, as I say, for him to get into this chance. Because make no mistake about it, if he doesn't make that red, he's going to be in the world of trouble, and he's going to find himself 3-1 down. Instead, it is going to be a break of 56 points and counting. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for a century break, which it's not going to matter massively. As he takes the pink once again, he has got enough points for 97 points of a break. It's not going to be a century break, but it's certainly going to be a decent break that Wild Goose was talking about for him to be up and running here. So he might be taking the yellow twice in a row here for it to be a break of 92 points, you would feel. And, well, he didn't really get too clean of a contact on the cue ball, so he might get himself snookered now on the blue. May actually be able to get through to this yellow, but I don't feel like that's going to be the case, and he wasn't, so just a little double that he attempted, which doesn't really mean anything. And, yeah, it is going to be Joe O'Connor to go for the intermission. Just looking at the timing there for the referee, announcing to the players. And it is going to be 2 frames each. So Ronnie very much back in the hunt there after losing out on the opening 2. So it is Ronnie O'Sullivan 2, Joe O'Connor 2, as 15 minutes of an intermission. And we'll be back with you to try and see who's going to be through to the second round. By the way, 3 frames that we had. Jack Jones against Neil Robertson. Jack Jones leads 2 frames to 1. CJ Wee and Gary Wilson are drawing 2 frames each. Same as Ronnie O'Sullivan and Joe O'Connor. And Chris Wakelin has got a brilliant lead against Chip Chayonu. He now leads 4 frames to 0. Clearly trying to make up for that German Masters decider in the opening round. 15 minutes time, and then we'll be back with you to try and see if Ronnie O'Sullivan is able to get another comeback underway and get himself through to the second round clash with Sal Gudon.
Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club. lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a road. Savannah, the light is gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung, kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a road. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a road.
I see the light inside you, brighter than the skies. Hold on, just let us escape and fly away tonight. We have the world in our sight, and I know together we'll be alright. Can you see forever we will go? We are forever learning, one step at a time. As long as the world is turning, I'll be by your side. We'll keep the fire burning, I'll never see you hurt. You know I can't explain it in a way of words. We both know that you'll understand, and you'll see if you take my hand, and I'll go out of my own way for you. I'll go out of my own way.
And as the intermission ends, we are back to the action, and once again, it is Ronnie O'Sullivan against Joe Connor, frame number 5, and very much a contrasting performance. As you can see, once again, just taking the sticker off every single time he's going to be breaking off now, as it says. He's got the frames number 3 and frames number 5 to go the same way, and it is Ronnie O'Sullivan trying to make sure he's going to be leading now against Joe Connor, and, well, certainly looking forward to see a lot more of what we witnessed from Ronnie in frames number 3 and 4. especially in the fourth one. You know, he didn't really get off to a great start. Then he played a monster double into the left corner somehow with the black. Very rare you see that to be the case. And then, of course, just having to play a long shot as well to follow it up with didn't really help. And yeah, just left a chance on for Joe O'Connor. In the end, the man from Leicester wasn't able to take it, but it looks like it is going to be a calamity start now for O'Sullivan. And has he managed to somehow get away with this one? I mean, I wouldn't believe it, but yeah, I've seen that before. And the fact that Joe O'Connor is asking to clean the white probably doesn't suggest that he has got away with it. Just slightly misleading there from the camera angle point of view. You're going to be able to get underneath the black and still try and pop that red, because if he does, he's going to have a great opportunity to try and have an early lead now as we approach the second part of this match. If it is potentially to go the distance and make it the first decider ever since, well, that Ronnie O'Sullivan has to play, ever since that match against Jack Lisowski, as he judged the contact well enough. Well, in the end, he couldn't get past the black, so he just has to play it off the cushion. And, yeah, plays it really well, to be fair, Joe, because he's still going to be lined up just about on the top side of the blue. And that way, he's going to get himself into a really good chance here. And, well, a great opportunity yet again, which so far, you know, you can criticise O'Sullivan for doing that. But he wasn't able to take any one of those apart from the one in the opening frame, despite having great chances to take a 3-0 lead. And of course, in the fourth frame, a 3-1 lead to go with it as well. So for now, needs to see a response from himself and his point of view. For now, he tries to eliminate the red from the left-hand side of the table. But if he was lined up on the top side of the blue last time, he's not going to be doing that now. And he's got a bit of ground to make up. Let's see if he's going to try and push the cue ball all the way through the side cushions. And basically try and make it onto the top part of the table, which, I mean, he got slightly favourable kiss off the yellow, but I don't actually feel like it's going to be enough there for him, because the reds were always going to be closer to the right part of the table, so he can try and go for this red, and he's actually going to be sending the cue ball away from the main bag, but I still don't feel like it's going to be enough for him to continue on the break. So 12 points advantage, of course, that's not going to be enough there for him. But what he can actually try and do here is that if he takes this red along the line, plays the cue ball through the shot enough there, he doesn't really leave a lot of those reds into the left part of the table, but he's still going to be lined up on the black if he makes this red in, which he does. So just needs the cue ball to pull up before he reaches the side cushion, and he's done pretty well with that. So it's all about Joe O'Connor and his pursuit now of a third frame win. Not for the first time when I'm going to say that, but maybe for the first time, which he's actually going to get himself over the line and accomplish the mission there. And now needs the cue ball to bounce away with a bit of power off the left side, because once again, the red that I think he has been playing for previously is going to be the one that he targets, although I think that's gone quite wrong for him. He's still going to be lined up for the red, but he's actually somehow managed to get a big contact with a bunch, but instead of trying to develop the reds, he's pushed one of them into the open play here. So, yeah, 20 points of an advantage here. The black going onto the yellow spot doesn't really help the case massively, because it's going to force even more of an angle in between the cue ball and the next red that he tries to take into the left corner. So just trying to play this one with the rest and extension to the cue, having to force the white over the black ball zone and basically set himself up for a shot with the blue. So yeah, trying to get yourself lined up for the third most expensive colour, and certainly the one that is going to be available to him. Although I think like he's going to struggle with pace. He's going to struggle with pace because he's going to be lined up for the lower part of the blue here. So it is looking to become a very difficult break here that Joe O'Connor finds himself a part of. But at least he's still in the hunt and still very much knocking on the door for it to be a very important frame for him. And it has taken a lot of cue power away from the white, but in the end he just manages to get a huge bounce off the side cushion. So it's worked out pretty well for him. Once again, that shot wasn't easy to play because, of course, you know, have technically 4 bold colours to navigate his way through, 3 traditional ones and the black as well to be on the yellow spot. And Ronnie doesn't seem like he's done a lot wrong, but that opening shot and the opening mistake that he had, getting that cue ball to rattle in the jaw, certainly feels like it is going to compromise him quite a bit. And, well, I mean, talk about compromise. Joe Connor, I think, is going to be really disappointed with the shot that he's just played. Because basically seeing the red slightly too close to the front jaw has allowed him to minimize the angle on the blue even more and basically force the cue ball to be over the blue. And yeah, that way around, I feel like we are going to see Ronnie to come back to the table unless he decides to go for the green, which, I mean, is still possible, but you feel like it's probably not going to be the right shot to play at the position that he finds himself with right now. So 27 points to try and hold on to as we enter the middle part of this frame. So just a safety to be played off the brown. Once again, unable to get himself a break of 50 or even 40 points ever since the opening break of 64 that he made in the first encounter. Of course, O'Sullivan doesn't have a lot more to speak for him, apart from the break in the previous frame of 65 points. Gets slight luck there of the yellow kiss on the cue ball, but it may still not be enough to keep O'Connor quiet here, because the red that he's got available to him into the right corner may still be playable as it stands, but he refuses to go for it. So just not having the black and maybe the pink available clearly played a role in his thinking process. And just a cross double to be sent towards the left part of the table. Force the cue ball to be going up the table quite nicely. Give the turn back to Ronnie O'Sullivan, which he'll take in no time at all. And just needs to make sure it doesn't keep touching those reds way too thick on the edge, which is something that he's done. Getting that cue ball way too close to the black. And we have seen a couple of long shots missed by Connor previously, but it seems like he's going to have another one very much available to him. And the problem is, the shots like that are going to be quite straight, and it's quite awkward for you to try and cue this one straight on. And especially, you know, he was taking that yellow at 2-0 lead. Right now, he doesn't have any cushion at all, apart from those 27 points in this frame. And he might not have that now, because as he cannons the cue ball pretty much full force into the blue, it is going to be a red available there to Ronnie O'Sullivan. So, instantly regret. And his face certainly is going to be there. But can Ronnie try and take this red into the corner pot? He can't. Red somehow stays away from the pocket, and that's going to be a very disappointing result to the chance there that was certainly there for Ronnie. He was close to it. He was leaving the cue ball for the pink, and in the end, it wasn't quite enough there for him to try and squeeze that red past the jaws and into the pocket. So all about what can Joe Connor try and do from the second opportunity that comes his way. Looking to maybe find out a little escape route for the cue ball. Whether he's going to be playing for the pink, just like Ronnie was previously, remains to be seen. But I have to say it's the closest colour. The rare shots are never too easy to generate a lot of power from. So maybe trying to just leave the cue ball on for the pink. And he certainly tried to do that. Whether he's able to make a success out of it, I'll have to wait and see, I guess. So it's not going to be too easy for him to try and close off the frame, but the fact that he's got 28 points of advantage already before he takes the pink certainly will help in that pursuit. And he's got a couple of reds surrounding the black ball spot, so it's still, of course, you can't see from this angle, and it's going to be very important if the pink is going to be able to go back on his spot, because that will boost the morale, Joe Connor quite badly, and give him the best possible chance to try and stay on this break for as long as he can. Because Ronnie can't do that. He had his chance, and sometimes, you know, when you take that one chance and you put it wide, it's going to be enough for you to lose the frame. Of course, he had that opening mistake. It wasn't quite on a pot success chance, but still allowed O'Connor to try and build that point count up to a decent level. And the pink certainly is going to be going onto the black ball spot, which he's going to improve his chances quite badly here. But not to the extent that you can be playing shots like that. Very close to missing a red into the right corner. Just about drops in the end because of him catching the minor part of that jaw and playing the shot with very little pace. But just about enough there for the cue ball to be forced and be lined up for the pink. And as I say, the massive game changer probably was the fact that pink was playable. from the black ball spot. And yeah, in the end, he had himself booked in with a really good chance here to win the table from, well, basically win the frame here from the scissors to the table. Now just asking the referee to clean the white before taking any poorly shot now for the shred to disappear. And once again, I mean, certainly has been a while since we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan leading in the match. I don't feel like it's happened against Jack Lisowski. Certainly it didn't happen against Sean Murphy. Joe Yulong, story was the same. Ali Carter and now Joe O'Connor. 4.5 frames and still no real opportunity for him to be playing on the front foot here. Although the opportunity might be coming here. A horrible mistake from O'Connor. Despite him getting the red in, he's going to be forced to go for the yellow. You can't let this one slip away from him. So there's going to be pressure on this spot. And, well, actually, I'm very surprised to see, but he's basically committed to bring Sullivan back to the table. And the 2 chances that he had, if that's not the invitation for Ronnie to try and win the frame from here, I don't know what is. He got himself a decent chance here still. As long as he doesn't drop the cue ball, that certainly will help. And he does drop the cue ball into the yellow pocket, so that's a chance that wasn't taken again. And a long shot is going to be available here to O'Connor. So let's see the grade if Joey's going to be able to get this one in. Of course, still doesn't quite have a best sort of opportunity to land on the pink. That way it makes the journey home for the cue ball slightly longer than he would have wanted it to be. But may actually be able to try and stay on the pink. So he has played this shot. But yeah, I felt like it was always going to go wrong for him because there was so much of an area for this one to basically send the cue ball into any other part where the pink wasn't really playable from. And for all of the mistakes, there's been 3 massive ones that we've seen from Ronnie here. So just, yeah, the referee clearly waving to the camera there. Or maybe just suggesting to one of the crowd members that he shouldn't be doing whatever they're doing at this stage and distracting the player. It's now, once again, 47 points advantage for O'Connor. And he just seems to be mounting those reds at this stage, which is not going to be the worst case scenario for him. But the fact is, he's still leaving no chances here for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And in the end, yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for him to be basically keep knocking on the door. But not quite difficult if O'Sullivan just makes another error straight away. May be able to get away with this one, though, to some extent. And block one of the reds into the right corner with another one. But once again, it feels like the last 4 shots that he's played have been 4 errors that he's made as well. So is he going to be 4th time lucky here for Joe? And, well, as long as he gets this red in, gets himself positioned for the pink nicely, it certainly should be 4 out of 4. And he's able to take it, so just a matter of time until he wins the 5th frame now from here, you would think. And get himself a 3-2 lead to be heading to the decider, potentially 3 frames. Never quite know the way it's going to go, because, you know, if you're going to have 5-3, 5-4, I should say, over win, you're going to get 9 frames, so we're going to be over halfway distance in any case. But you could always have the fact of O'Connor just trying to run away with it, as he has done right at the start of the match with O'Sullivan surely yet to find any bit of form there for his own. O'Connor was able to settle into the start and the match resuming pretty quickly, a lot quicker than O'Sullivan. And so with him not making a lot of those mistakes in terms of giving those chances away, he's able to take a frame away from Ronnie O'Sullivan and make it now a 3-2 lead for him to try and hold on to. As he's about to take the pink as well, he's going to have a 62 points advantage with taking that last red on. So it's not going to matter for the return of Ronnie O'Sullivan back to the table. And yeah, he's just going to be all about forcing the cue ball through this red and trying to get the maximum amount of points that he can. You know, he can try and work his way through this blue. He's got the remaining 2 reds very much available to him, but try and keep Ronnie O'Sullivan as quiet as you can. Get yourself maximum amount of and percentage of table time. And you're going to be in with a great chance here of resolving this match into your favour. Because remember, just because you come back from being 2 or 3-0 down doesn't mean that you're going to be winning the match 5-3 or 5-4. And kind of just confirming that cliche to be the case. And he's got 29 points here to go with the previous couple of breaks that he's made. So takes the pin quite comfortably into the left middle. So it's just going to be lined up for this red to be taken, although it's overrun for it. So it's going to be very thin cut. Once again, trying to hold it for the pink. I don't think he's going to try and do anything else with it. Although he has sort of given it a good go of getting that cue ball onto the top part of the table. Of course, I'm not sure if he's checked if the yellow's going to go into its own pocket, but play the shot really well. And now could still make it the highest break of the match, potentially. You know, for now, that leading aspect, well, for himself and for Ronnie as well, because he's technically still has 27 points at the table, which will make it 65 points of a break, and therefore equal the break that Ronnie made in the previous frame. So, yeah, another point to him is going to have to be the fact that he's able to win this frame with a record to 0 next to O'Sullivan's name. And for all the chances that, you know, you had to try and second guess on, so it's only going to be a good result there for him. And as he managed to take the treble, he has a brilliant brown there by Joe Connor, and certainly entertaining the crowd here, as they've come to see the show, and so far both of the players have delivered. Now then, another blue beautifully taken there, so this is turning out to be a fantastic clearance from Joe Connor, and maybe just a sign of things to come in the next couple of frames there from his camp. And it is a fantastic break of 58 points. He's not going to bother about the black. And it is Joe Connor that once again takes some sort of control in this match against the 7-time world champion. And yeah, if Ronnie wants to try and stay in this World Grand Prix, Hong Kong Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it, he needs to try and find the edge in his performance. It is Joe Connor that leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 3 frames to 2. Meanwhile, on the other table, we've got one match already to be finished, so Chris Wakeland's clearly not messing around with Chip Chayonu and able to get the job done fairly quickly with a 5-0 whitewash. In the end, Bailey taking him 2 hours to get that match over and done with. Jack Jones is very close to being a massive favourite in the match of Neil Robertson. So he's now leading the Aussie by 3 frames to 1, and still all square back in siege away against Gary Wilson, the world number 18. He's taking on the top 16 player for not the first time this season, of course, after their former meeting in the UK Championship, it feels like. So, yeah, Ronnie still has got a chance to try and avoid leaving those 3 opportunities for Connor to be over the line, but as long as he avoids that 4-2 of a deficit, still going to be the winning machine here. But he needs to make sure that that frame win comes as soon as he possibly can. And yeah, it's all about just trying to level the scoreboard again. I know it's probably, you know, the way that these things have been going for him. And once you retire now, it's not like before. No, it shouldn't, because, you know, it's not as much as he's not like before. He's still providing great entertainment to the fans. And the tour is always going to be better with Ronnie than it would have been without him. So he can try and stay as long as he wants to. And certainly, I think all the fans are going to be there when he does. And just because he's not going to be playing in the form that he's shown in 2020 or 2022, well, breaking news, people age, and he's not a robot, he's not a machine, and he's going to be able to try and give a couple more years to his game, as he says, and then you never quite know. You know, you've got this similar sort of story with Wilson being knocked out against Giranda in the opening round. Don't say that he should be retired, although he shared the same age with him. And I still think that the class of 92 have got a lot to offer in terms of their credit to the game, and getting it even, well, to be even better than what they've already done. So it's a breakoff shot now for Connor. By the way, he still hasn't lost the match, and it's probably not the worst point of the match for him either, because he was 2-0 down, he was about to be 3-0 down, and also, you know, that 3-1 was very much on the cards there for O'Connor before the wonderful long shot found by Ronnie O'Sullivan. And I feel like the concerning thing has to probably be the fact of him making so many mistakes back to back right next to each other, but in the end he's still in with a shout, and just because he made a couple doesn't feel like O'Connor is going to be playing the game of his life right now. That's what he's done in the previous frame. Now having this red available with a long shot to be taken, once again after a bit of a misjudgment from Ronnie, and that's going to be the perfect start from O'Connor's point of view, but he's missed that red by a mile. Let's see where that's going to finish, and I feel like he's going to finish in the way that the same red is not going to be possible into the green pocket, but the other one might be. So, as I say, only one takes one chance sometimes, and Ronnie has shown some great game in the fourth frame when he was able to get in amongst those reds. Of course, he had that good chance in the middle point of the fifth frame too, but missed out on that red by a millimeter or two, just playing that with too much power for it to drop in the pocket. And it was a really good chance for him to try and maybe go 3-2 ahead, wasted, but this time around he's going to be taking a good red into the left corner, plays a really nice positional shot on the black. So I hope he's here to prove all the haters and all the doubters wrong, because, you know, as much as he's going to be struggling to try and get through the opening part of this frame, as long as he does it, he should be there with a good chance when it comes to the finishing the job off. And now just looking at this black to be taken into the left corner, plays it with a bit of backspin. I mean, it's probably going to be a bit of a cliche once again. And yeah, he decides to force his way onto this red, which hasn't actually worked out too badly. I expected the cue ball to be faced off with a tougher angle, which in the end he's able to get this red into the corner pocket with no real effort. Like, can I watch this? Yeah, I've been looking on it yesterday, so it depends on the region which you're watching it from, but you can basically go from Astra Super Sport, WSTV Play, TNT Sports, Eurosport, something like that. It just can't remember it for all the regions in the world. But what I can remember is that that break of 65 points came at pretty much 15 seconds or so, and a very short time. And it's all about just trying to do exactly the same thing that Joe O'Connor has done to Ronnie, basically make it frame to nil in terms of the scoreboard. Whether he's going to be able to do it in a single visit to the frame remains to be seen. Probably not from what we've seen before, but it's the first chance for everything. In Europe, is it free to watch? No, I don't think it is free to watch in Europe, because, as I say, Europe goes from the name of Eurosport. So that's where you're going to be watching this one from. And now, just needs to take this black into the right corner, and he wasn't able to do it once again. So just taking his eye off the pot clearly, and despite getting a couple of those reds into the open play, in the end, he gets the black to stay out of the pocket and walks away back to his seat. Once again, that cursed number of 23 points. You know, that was the story of the second frame for Joe O'Connor, but ultimately it was the story of the first frame for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And O'Connor went on to make the break of 63 points to go with it, and in the end clinch on the opening frame. I mean, probably the only piece of good news, and it's still not going to be too much exciting for O'Sullivan to hear, is probably going to have to be the fact that he hasn't done too much of the damage to the reds. He's got 3 of them in open play here for O'Connor, which hasn't actually landed perfectly on the second one. He's got the black over the pocket though, so that might be a bit of a free shot to try and send the cue ball into the bunch, but he's still going to have to work with it. And if there has been a point where you feel like Joe O'Connor has to improve on, it probably has been the positional play. And from O'Sullivan, there's probably too many of those things to list. But the biggest has to be taking the eye off the pot too much and just not concentrating on the pot success. You know, the black that he missed in this and the previous, and I think it was the first and the second frame. Probably lose count by this stage. You know, the positional play mistakes that have been there all over the place. And once again, just scoring 23 points out of an easily a 50 points opportunity. Has to be a thing for him to try and improve on. And the fact that, you know, you can understand why he's taking so little time in between the shots, but also you have to criticise him for it when he doesn't pull off shots like that, because if I feel like, you know, he takes 5 more seconds or so, he maybe realises that, you know, he needs slightly more adjustment or slightly more care on the black to be taken. And in the end, he just decides to try and go with the flow, and the flow clearly doesn't think so. Now, O'Connor, once again, he's running out of reds, I have to say, to try and make some contact to the bunch. He may have to do it here. You know, he clearly wasn't too happy with the way he's played for this blue. And off the side of the black ball cushion and onto the main bunch of these reds. Certainly he's going to be away. Or you can try and play with the backspin, but I just feel like that way you got slightly more of a chance losing control of the cue ball. And in the end, he just played for it. And, well, I'm not going to say he's played it with the best outcome for himself, because I have to say I don't really understand why he had to take all the power away from it. And remember when I said he's going to have the free shot of the black basically trying to get it into the main bunch. Well, he's got to have that now, because he can't play for any other colour other than the black. So he needs a rest shot, well, it's partner, I should say, to try and breach over a combination of 2 or 3 reds here. And yeah, I mean, he's got quite a lengthy one here, as you can see. So it's a very important shot now for O'Connor to be taking on, for the outcome of the frame and for the outcome of the match as well. And he's still yet to lead in the match, well, technically or non-technically, when it comes to being ahead in the frame when it's 2 frames each. Just being ahead by 3 frames to 2. Now then, O'Connor has obviously taken this red. I think there was no real surprise about it. Technically, can try and play for 1 more red right underneath the pink into the right corner, but I mean, he's got a couple of points to go with it. Basically, it's not going to be the easiest red to be landed on. So I feel like, well, as much as it's not really textbook shot to go for, he needs to try and send the cue ball away from 2 cushions, and somehow, I don't know how by the way, but he manages to miss the black. And has he managed to get away with this one though? I think he has. And the 2 reds that potentially could have been away to Ronnie O'Sullivan are going to be in the way of each other. So it's disappointing from Ronnie's point of view, but it's really disappointing from O'Connor, because yeah, you're not going to be able to miss the black as a professional. Because, well, you can, but you shouldn't be able to. It should be one of those shots that you take 100 times and you make literally 99 out of them. And the only time that you don't is that you sneeze midway through the shot, or you just, you know, have a miscue or something like that. 5 points advantage now for Ronnie, which doesn't really mean anything. He's gone on to separate the reds away from each other, push the couple close to the side cushion. So once again, it's a bit of a safety battle here. Whoever gets the first chance, as much as neither of them have been particularly high-scoring players ever since the interval. I know that break of 58 points was great for O'Connor, but he was at the point of the frame where it doesn't really matter. So doesn't have the same feeling as if you make it clearance when it's the decider of the match. But yeah, O'Connor clearly doesn't seem like he's going to be too quick to make a decision, and maybe he's just going to force himself, try and go for the long red instead. Go for a load of backspin on the cue ball as well. Let's see if this is going to work out. It certainly hasn't. Where's the cue ball going to finish? I think he's going to finish in the danger zone. Just how close to the black is he going to be? It's going to be far enough for Ronnie O'Sullivan to have another chance here, and may actually have an opportunity to try and stay on the black, although I'm not going to say that I'm too eager to see him play this shot, because once again it's a tougher red. He plays this time around and he takes it well. So I did say before that it was going to be whoever gets the first chance, and I feel like, well, it is a cheap giveaway whatever happens here. I'm not going to say that Ronnie's going to win it from here, but it's a really cheap mistake from O'Connor, because, you know, he missed that red by so much of a distance that any sort of cue power that he was trying to get the backspin to work on wasn't really relevant at that stage. And once again, the machine is running, just needs to make sure there's not a malfunction on the black. He doesn't need to make any more contact with any of those reds, just try and take them one by one. You know, he's going to be having 21 points of a cushion as he takes the black on to make that 22. Once again, you can barely keep up with him, but this pink has to disappear, and so to the other couple of reds to go with it. Well, probably the more difficult shot that he'll have to play into the left corner, with still being pretty straight on it, in terms of the angle not being too far away from the cushion. So just take the pick, and, well, I mean, he got it in, but yeah, he certainly hasn't played the shot as well as he could have, and he actually ran himself quite wide on the pink, so he needs to respond here. And is he able to? Yes, he is. So takes the pink really nicely. Yeah, he barely got that red in to rattle off the jaws, and what might have saved him is the fact that he played with so little power. In the end, the pink was a lot harder than that, but he was able to take it anyway. Another red that he needs to the use of the jaw of the pocket, but ultimately it's going to come down to the next 2 shots. He's got 36 points of an advantage, so make that 42 with the pink. And just this red for it to be back to 3 frames each and first to 2. I mean, I mentioned that the meeting between the two of them was at the Championship League. And Ronnie O'Sullivan's gone on to lose 3 frames to 2. And right now, certainly has got all the components to try and do something with his clearance. Because it's his second best break that he's made in the entire match here. And certainly going to be the one that's, well, if he takes the shred in, there's not going to be an appearance from Joe O'Connor. And it's a really good response, as I say. There was always going to be that 1 frame chance ever since it was a 5 points advantage for Ronnie. And about 7 or 8 reds to try and make your way through. In the end, he's able to do so. And now he's got himself lined up for a fantastic position. And yeah, he could still try and make it the best break of the match. And he could go on to make it a break of 79 points, which certainly will give him a bit of table time and a bit of match fitness, which I have to say I've been focusing my attention on quite a lot during this match. But it's only because, as I say, if he's played a couple of matches prior to this one, he would have been in a greater shape. And it's still quite nice that he's got himself into a position where he can still try and go on to be the winner of this match. Game on. Yes, Kevin is back. And so is Ronnie. Whether it's going to be for long or not remains to be seen. But it is going to be another shot of the black. And yeah, he's not going to bother about the black, really. So it is going to be the break of 73 points. And Ronnie O'Sullivan marches on to make this one the highest break of the match there. So for himself and for his opponent. So 3 frames each. And back to square one it goes. But this time around, we don't have a match and a race to first to 5. It's only about who's going to be able to win 2 frames from here. And Ronnie still goes the favourite with the odds. But only, well, not just about really. It's still a 150 for him to be the winner. 262 for Joe O'Connor. But it's all about the next frame, I think. Because especially if Ronnie goes on to lose it, I just feel like O'Connor can try and play the patient game in frame number 8 and force O'Sullivan to be, you know, trying to be the one. Basically, that wants these reds to spread out away from each other. In the end, it's still Jack Jones that has got a healthy lead against Neil Robertson. It's 3 frames to 1. And it's still a battle for that 5th frame to begin. Yeah, we've got 6 frames finished in the match of Ronnie O'Sullivan against Joe O'Connor. We've got 5 frames of CJOE against Gary Wilson. And we've got 4 frames in the Jack Jones against Neil Robertson match. And of course, already, Chris Wakelin and Chep Charnu have ended their encounter. Chris Wakelin with a comfortable win, 5 frames to 0. CJOE, by the way, getting a great chance to try and maybe double that advantage over Gary Wilson. But come on, Ronnie, show up. Yes, he does need to show up for 2 more frames. And then he can try and go for a rest for, I don't know, 24 hours or something before it meets one of the home crowd favourites, Xiao Guodong. Of course, Marco Fu is not going to be playing here, which was going to be extra special for him to be from Hong Kong. But still, China players are going to be getting their recognition, you would have thought. For now, of course, it is all about the show that Ronnie will try and put up out of his fans. And once again, look at his cue. And trying to work out some things with it. Once again, it's going to be the 7th frame. And so far, those don't really seem to go his way. Because every single odd frame that he's had, you know, he sort of lost the first one, won the 3rd one, then lost the 5th one. And now it is once again going to be the 7th frame here. How can I watch this match on YouTube? You can't. Because it is going to be a copyrighted product of WSD. As Ronnie goes for a break-off. Ooh, I mean, send those reds away from each other massively. Has he managed to leave a long shot? Hasn't really, so that's a good start. I don't feel like there's going to be any sort of chance for O'Connor to try and make his way through. And get off to a flying start here. So it's all going to be trying to take this red into the black ball cushion. Basically, have the cue ball to slow down and be forced for it. So, I mean, O'Connor maybe just tempting Ronnie to think about going for this red into the green pocket. So let's see what the response from Ronnie is going to be. And he doesn't take the bait and yeah, just pushes that cue ball to be onto the ball cushion quite nicely. Gets that red to just about get past the blue ball spot. And the blue line in general. Gives the turn back to Joe O'Connor straight away. So I feel like the safety has improved from Ronnie. And it's all about just eliminating all of these unforced errors. As I say, that chance in the 5th frame, taking that red into the left corner wasn't really too difficult of a shot. especially for someone like O'Sullivan to be taking on, but he was unable to make it work for him. And then, of course, missing that black off the spot, trying to make a change to it in the previous frame. Didn't really cost him too much, but he could have. Once again, O'Connor just getting that cue ball to be on the lower part of the table. So this is a bit of a tense moment here for O'Sullivan, because O'Connor has pushed one of those reds quite close to the left middle onto the top part of the table. So not sure if Ronnie can actually afford to be sending the cue ball to the top part of it. Is he going for a shot into the yellow pocket though? That's going to be certainly a test of his cueing. And that's being played to absolute perfection there. And that is the time to step up and play an absolute masterstroke of a shot like that. We certainly haven't seen those here in the German Masters. And yeah, I just hope that we are going to actually see Ronnie O'Sullivan in full flow, not making any one of those mistakes. And he has got a lot of reds to try and work his way through for now. So hopefully that is going to delay the inevitable of having to go into the bunch and just trying to concentrate on the pot success percentage to be high, and gets the blue in quick succession straight away. So 12 points is going to be the advantage here for O'Sullivan, and having a choice of 2 reds into the right corner takes the one closer to the side cushion. That is going to get him nicely on the black. So he still has got a couple of those reds, you know, to make your way through. I just feel like, I'm not sure if the one above the black is going to go into the left corner. From this angle, it looks like it will. So Ronnie looking like he's not going to test the fortune just yet, and he's going to play for another red. So 20 points of an advantage here for Ronnie. So just looking to see how close the black is going to go. So of course, it was actually going to be slightly closer to the red after the respot, and yeah, in the end, well, has to go for slightly more difficult the red into the middle. Has he cued this one well? He has. So once again, stays on the black. May be able to force this red away from the left part of the table and stay on those reds nicely. So 28 points of advantage. So at least it's not going to be 23. Which seems to be a bit of a cursed number for Ronnie, as he takes this red once again quite nicely with this cue ball. So a couple of early blues, and ever since it's been all shots on the black. Trying to play with the real flow and rhythm. And he probably is going to have the last red available to him. So 36 points advantage is still going to be quite good, an advantage for him. But still, of course, not good enough for him to be taking about a frame win in this is it to the table. Well, he's got a couple of reds to be available, but he may have to try and get on them the hard way. And he hasn't really managed to do it. But at least he got the black in. That's going to be the positive thing. And the break of 44 points is still going to be good enough. Pushed one of those reds to be on the side cushion. And, well, this is the moment now. Does he go for this shot into the yellow pocket? Because I have to say, I really hope he doesn't. But he may just about be able to cue this one, so that the cue ball is going to be forced to go for the same spot. But he doesn't need it, because he's barely played the shot of the tournament. And I barely speak about the quality of that shot. That was absolutely prime Ronnie O'Sullivan. You cannot describe how difficult of a shot that was to go so deep onto the cue ball and still play with all the length of the table diagonally across into the yellow pocket. The referee can't believe it. The crowd can't believe it. And Joe O'Connor probably feels like, well, I'm glad it's not first to 4, because Ronnie O'Sullivan seems to be in real flow. Now, just get yourself over the line, and we can share on that long red even more, because there's been a couple that Ronnie O'Sullivan has been able to take. So now he's got 58 points of an advantage. So trying to get in behind of this red. And I think he's asking the referee to clean the white here as well. So to clean the black, I should say, apologies. So yeah, having a look to see the position that he's going to have. So yeah, just pointing there that he not only needed the black, doesn't need the cue ball to be cleaned. So then 58 points of an advantage. So take this red into the middle. Get yourself 59 points out of O'Connor. And yeah, there we go. Sorry, I put the stream to be lagging here. So 66 points now as he takes the black. So obviously it feels like there is going to be a slight gap for him to try and force this cue ball through. And get himself lined up for the blue to be taken into the middle. So 67 points right now. So the blue, for this to be a 4-3 lead for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And he could not have done it in any better of a fashion. Ronnie and Flo happy? I certainly am now. I mean, I just hope that it is going to be one more extra frame. It's been a while since we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan to be leading in any sort of competitive matches. I mean, he has been leading against Lonzo Hyun, to be fair. So, slightly disappointed that he didn't take the shred in because, A, he allows O'Connor to be coming back to the table with needing 2 snookers, but also it doesn't make it a perfect frame there from Ronnie's point of view. It's still going to be quite difficult to see O'Connor get anything out of it, but we've seen worse, and we've seen bigger gaps overturn. This is, yeah, of course, right now he needs to make sure he's going to be potting those reds with the black, which seems to be a bit of a struggle already. You know, he's playing this shot with a bit of too much power here. So got the cube on the side. Because if he misses the black, the frame is going to be well and truly over, but ooh. I mean, he tried to separate the reds away from each other, and pretty unlucky there that he got. He got a really thin contact, a really good contact on 3 of them, and basically pushed 1 straight to the top of the table, and the other 2 to be perfectly alongside the cue ball. So I feel like he is going to be taking this red into the yellow pocket right now. So try and cue it for the black, and needs to be finding the best game that he can, and he's not able to do it here. So once again, 8 points scored, so it's not going to be too much of a rhythm breaker here for Ronnie. Especially if he's able to take one of those reds into the middle, which he can afford to. So let's see if it's going to be a double attempt, or is it going to be a shot at the middle? It was a shot at the middle. He's played it absolutely beautifully. And it is going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan 4, Joe O'Connor 3 confirmed. And, well, Ronnie now, don't want to say in full flow just yet, but certainly a lot better than what we've seen. A disaster performance in the opening couple of frames. Right now, it is Ronnie in a bit of flow, bit of rhythm, and a bit of everything there for himself. So 73 points of a difference that he has in between himself and his opponent. So just to force the cue ball to be on the side cushion. Get yourself lined up in behind of this red. And yeah, just a bit of backspin power there that you can apply on the cue ball. He's played this one way too close to the green, which seems to see the funny side of it. And yeah, just needs to make sure he eliminates all of these errors to come into frame number 8. But, I mean, if he's able to go for blues like that, he's going to be just about fine. Another brilliant shot there from Ronnie. Maybe a double to go with it as well. We've seen a couple of those before. And we're going to see one now. Once again, I mean, I am very close. I don't want to tempt the fate and, you know, tempt the snooker lord about it, but he seems to be in really great flow because even though he run himself out of position and it looked like the break was over, no matter what he does, he still manages to find 2 emphatic shots and now 87 points of a difference. So, yeah, completely dominated the last couple of frames with Joe O'Connor barely scoring 8 points there, you'll feel. And in the end, he's still going to not have, well, he's not going to have the perfect break here of, you know, the highest one of the match. And he's going to miss the green, which was quite easy. So maybe a bit of a jinx there, but I'd love to get that one out of the way right now. It is 4-3. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Joe O'Connor, and we could be entering the last, but we certainly are going to be entering the last 2 frames. Whether it's going to be the last frame or not remains to be seen. It is Ronnie O'Sullivan 4, Joe O'Connor 3. As we head on to frame number 8. Meanwhile, Jack Jones is really destroying Neil Robertson. He's 4-1 up there against the Aussie, and the world number 3 seems to go the path of the world number 2 there. You know, Karen Wilson was knocked out by someone that either Joe O'Connor or Ronnie O'Sullivan will play in the second round. And, of Xiao Gudon, I should say. And then, you know, of course, another player from China who's going to be playing against Jut Chom, Yuan Jun, the world number 31. For now, it is Jack Jones against Neil Robertson, and the Welshman has got a 4-1 lead to try and keep the nation very much in the tournament. So, yeah, of course, after that disaster performance from Mark Williams against Zhang Anda, going to be the last Welshman standing, and yeah, Robertson doesn't seem like he's up in full flow ever since the Masters. You know, he had a decent campaign before he came up against Sean Murphy in the, I mean, was it the semi-finals or was it the quarterfinal? I can't think of it right now. It was the semi-final, so he did have a bit of a better than decent campaign for him to be playing Sean in the was he playing in the semis? Can't think of it right now because can't think of whoever Murphy played. I know he had that brilliant run. Yeah, he was playing Robertson in the semi-final. I just can't believe that match finished 6-1. That's an absolute battering there. I still can't believe that Murphy got into that final with such great form and still wasn't able to put anywhere near as great of a snooker in against Watchalong. But yes, we're about to get the frame number 8 underway, and thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button on the stream and subscribe as we enter the endgame zone of this match. The crowd certainly be there for it. And we've seen a couple of posters with a rocket, well, with a literal rocket, with a spaceship, and we certainly get the reference for that. The referee's about to give the cue ball to Joe O'Connor. Let's have a look how it seems like the stats are going to be telling about the even frames. So the second one was won by O'Connor, the fourth one was won by Ronnie, the sixth one was won by Ronnie as well. So it's 2 out of 3 for now, if it means anything, which I don't think it does. But I certainly feel like it is going to mean a lot, the opening chance that we're going to see. And well, Ronnie didn't even have a look at that plant into the right corner after the break-off shot, which I actually thought might be the good opportunity for him. In the end, he drifts the cue ball wide quite nicely, diagonally across the table, once again closer to the yellow pocket. He needs a couple of shots to try and settle into this break. But also, as much as I want to say it, he still needs that somewhat easy position to try and find himself with, especially with a couple of reds eliminated, and it's been quite good with those sort of clearances so far because he had 2 of those already. Now then, it's going to be a red over the corner pocket, but can Ronnie get through to it? The answer is no, he can't. So this is going to be quite interesting, and when I say settle and play a couple of safety shots, certainly it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. Is it going to be one of more of those shots to all or nothing? Well, Ronnie clearly doesn't feel like that. And yeah, he got that cue ball to bounce away onto the side cushion, but he's going to have way too much power for Sullivan's liking. I feel like he's alright for the right part of the table, and that's the part for you to be concerned about. So the left part is going to be very close to him. Thank you for covering making my coffee this morning even more pleasant, happy. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can't miss Ronnie. Like, as much as you want to be just staying in bed and feeling like I'll see him in the second round. Unfortunately, you have to be taking it as one match per time, and I'm still not guaranteed that he's going to be through to the second round. But when Ronnie's playing, especially for it to be a professional match and coming on the TV, you better make sure you're watching this one. And yeah, why not do a stream on YouTube for it if you're going to have people watching it as well. Now then, it's a safety shot that works out quite nicely there for O'Connor. So, I mean, that's interesting. Short selection from Ronnie. He's going to try and dismantle the plant of 2 reds to be, well, usually in the way of the cue ball, but he's played this shot well enough, he's played it really well, to be fair, to somehow avoid the double kiss on the second red. Got the cue ball pretty much exactly into the line where it came from, and it's just a matter of time until one of the players is going to get desperate and go for this super plant into the right corner, although I have to say the position just smells like it is going to be 2 or 3 chances needed for, well, one of the best forms of Ronnie O'Sullivan, really, because he's got the pink and the black covered up. He's still got the reds pretty much compromised by one another, but just as I say that, he's going to get the first chance here, surely. Very similar to the red that he got in the what is it, in the 5th frame. Eventually when he lost out and gone 2-3 down there to O'Connor. So this one, of course, is going to be slightly more difficult. He missed that one, remember, because he could try and hold the cue ball for the pink. This time around, he needs to try and play for the blue. But, I mean, I say it, if he's going to take the red into the left corner, which I think he will, but Ronnie feels like he's going to be taking the other route here. So, yeah, just checking that he needs the extension. He does need the extension, so checking the right corner, checking the left corner. And once again, check both of them. And in the end, he doesn't look like he's going to be happy with either. So, yeah, has to try and reach over. So, slightly awkward there over the cue ball placement. And you can see the hand of apologies up because on the way of that red to drop into the pocket inevitably, he's still caught one of those reds in. So, that hasn't been going to plan. And as I say, the break is probably rather going to be short here for Ronnie because, he's got the blue to try and stay in this one, but it's not going to be an easy one. To be fair, I can't really see him playing a safety shot from this, and he should have done it. The blue was never on for that awkward bridging there of the cue ball. And right now it is going to be back to Joe O'Connor. Well, to be fair, I know it's a horrible thing to say, but it may not be the worst piece of news there to Ronnie, because, you know, don't want to sound disrespectful, but I can't really see O'Connor making this position work for him in the value of 60 or 70 points. I mean, there's a reason why O'Sullivan was taking so much time in the opening raid there. And yes, he'll have the first colour pretty much sorted for him with his blue being over the pocket. Missed out by O'Sullivan previously, but apart from that, ooh, I mean, if you're going to be missing reds like that, I mean, that was a prediction and a half for me to say that this position is not going to work out for O'Connor. I mean, I certainly didn't expect the miss to come from the first raid. Well, that is maybe just pressure. Maybe he feels like the game has gone away from him. Whatever it is, Ronnie needs to make sure he's the one to pounce on it. And, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there to change my mind and say, well, yeah, this position is easy. It's not. You know, he got a couple of reds out of the way. He's got the blue over the pocket. And then he was going to have to try and make the contact to the pink, to the black, or try and play through the blue with the majority of those shots. I don't feel like any one of those scenarios is going to be perfect, but, you know, another thing about positions like that is that when you make a break of 30 or 40 points, it could still feel like a frame-winning break, because your opponent is still going to come back to the table with it being far from ideal. And of course, another thing about Ronnie is that when you make mistakes against him, you know, I don't want to jinx it too much, but he usually just starts to be playing better himself. And yeah, he had a bit of a nervous look towards the red that he clearly hasn't been playing for, but he should be fine to try and drop this red in. It's quite marginal, but if you play the shot well enough, you should be able to avoid the cannon on the other red. And that way, you basically get yourself a free red by doing that as well. Step in, Ronnie. Yes, you should be doing that now. I mean, just when you know that the opponent is struggling, that's the time for O'Sullivan to try and shine. And in the end, it's still going to be an incredible comeback from 2-0 down. But, of course, don't get ahead of yourself too much. You know, you got a 20-point lead. And, Ronnie, come on. Okay, flow. Well, I hope he's going to be in a bit of flow, because he's got the blue to take into the right middle. Play this one with a bit of backspin on the cue ball once again. And because of the previous shot that he's taken on the red, he basically freed up a couple for him, as he now takes 5 reds out of the way. So this is going to be an important number for you to keep an eye on, because now that's going to be very, very key in terms of the points that he's got available for O'Connor to try and find his way back into this frame. And Ronnie, yeah, I mean, he's basically hitting the shot, and he's up straight away because he knows he's played it really well. And just hope that we're not going to see any change of tendency with that one. Another blue to be disappearing. And by the way, make no mistake about it, this has been a horrible position to make his way through. And 30 points. So it's not going to be a mistake on a pot success. It's not going to be a bad result at all. So plays the cue ball, clearly trying to get it into the bunch. But in the end, looked like he controlled it just about well enough for him to be on the brown. He nearly went 3 down. I said, yes, he was nearly 3-0 down. And he nearly was 3-1 down as well. Like, that was an incredible frame, and he was playing the runner-up in the third frame for pretty much 90% of it. And I still can't understand why O'Connor was taking that yellow with basically a long shot of the match. I mean, it would have been very similar to that red that Ronnie managed to pull in the previous frame. As he gets another difficult red really nicely, so he's not going to have a really nice position on the blue. May actually be the time for you to play a safety shot, to be fair, and have that 37 points to try and hang on to. With 83 still at the table, basically he was playing a couple of shots to try and get the cue ball into those reds, because he basically ran out of them. And even if he takes the blue on, I feel like he's going to be looking for just 5 more points, which still could be important. So let's see what he does. Of course, he'll go for the blue. And, well, I say he doesn't have any more reds to play, because that's what I thought. I mean, can he have? Can he try and find a couple more of these reds? No, he can't. To be fair, he can't. He clearly was just taking 5 points from the blue. Great commentary. Thank you very much. Come on, Ronnie. Yes, he's got 42 points of advantage and 83 at the table. So he is in what I call a 50% zone, especially when you've got a couple of reds on the way, where basically, you know, when you have a gap of 50 points, you should have less than 100 available at the table for your opponent. And for me, that always makes you slightly more of a favourite for you to be the winner of the frame. Doesn't always work out to be the case, but let's see. The opening couple of shots from O'Connor's point of view are going to be very important, especially if he plays up shots like that. Now, does he get the cover from the blue? I feel like he might do, you know. But it's not a guarantee. Watchalong can afford to try and just take those reds away from the game here, but he can't get through directly to this red. So, I mean, it's quite a weird one because whatever you do, he's going to swerve it. That's risky. I would rather him play a different type of a shot. He's going to miss it. The red is going to go safe, to be fair. So, yeah, I would rather have tried to just nudge that red away from the pocket, not take any chances with it. But I suppose not criticize Ronnie too much. So O'Connor is thinking about going for a super tough red along the black ball cushion. And he's got a couple of other options next to his name. But, I mean, as I say, this frame is not over at all. And just because Ronnie has got that 32-point or 42-point advantage, it doesn't really help him too much in the match against Ali Carter for the 7th frame, where he was about to take the lead for the first time. Carter was able to find some brilliant long shots and come back to it. Whereas this match, it's in Kai Tak Arena in Hong Kong. There you go, there's your answer. So Ronnie doesn't want that red to be brought away from the cushion, and he has brought it away from the cushion. Got slightly favourable kiss of the yellow and brought the yellow onto the side cushion, but way too close to the pocket for it to be a problem. So, I mean, I mentioned about long shots. This is not as difficult as it might seem, but it's also not over the pocket there, this red. O'Connor should be taking this one on because of how close it is to the pocket. But, you know, the problem with these shots is if you miss them, you're very likely to leave them over the pocket. He nearly missed it. It wobbled in the pocket, but in the end, it dropped away. But I've got no clue what he was playing for. I mean, unless this black is possible and he's going to be the best shot of the positional play that you're ever going to see, which I don't think he does past the red. It's going to be a red eliminated there for nothing for O'Connor. And he can't do these on too many occasions. Of course, the scoreline doesn't allow him to do that. He's got 75s to make his way through, so he's fine for now. He's got a couple of reds to try and do the business with, but yeah, that's not going to be the start of the break that he would have wanted, especially, as I say, that red should have been potted no matter what. And, of course, Nat is going to be playing in favour of Ronnie Watchalong for now. But he mustn't get complacent. He's still not over the line. He tries to push the black even closer to the cushion, and he's played the shot really well. I mean, that's a high IQ shot right there. Because he didn't sacrifice the position at all on the cue ball or that red. He basically got a red which was in a semi-difficult position to a really difficult position there. And also getting the black and the red to be in the way of each other. O'Connor is forced to try and take that red away from the black. And he's going to be quite close to the yellow, you know. No, he's going to be alright there. So yellow is going to be over the pocket. So that's going to be a thing for you to bear in mind as well. Whoever gets on the colour, well, whoever gets the red in basically should be on the colour as well. And Ronnie now, once again, has got this red to bounce away. Doesn't want it anywhere near the pocket though. And now needs the cover from the brown. He's not going to get it. And yeah, I mean, O'Connor managed to bring the black into the open play with a previous shot, basically putting all that effort from O'Sullivan to nothing. He needs another long shot to be made. How much to the winner? I mean, it doesn't matter really. It's like 2 or 3k. It's the first round. So, yeah, it has to be working with this long shot here, O'Connor, and he's able to get it. So is he going to be on the pink? He will be. Of course, he has got the yellow, which you want to try and keep for now. So the position has probably gone from bad to okay for O'Connor. But he still needs to drop this pink into the left corner for him to stand a chance. And is he going to do it? Yes, he is going to do it. So then, the chance is on for a clearance. Realistically, the only problems are going to be the 2 reds being pretty much tied up on the black ball cushion. One slightly to the left, one slightly to the right. And still very much far away from pockets, both of them, especially the left one. I mean, probably similar to be fair, so it doesn't matter. And he's got to have enough points here, O'Connor. So as much as, you know, just wants to try and make him an easy life of getting on the remaining reds here. Although he hasn't really done so. He's got the pink to be taken into the left corner, but that's a super difficult shot. I don't think he's going to be taking that one on at 4-3 and 42-9 down. He's got the blue to be taken as well. Sullivan's still dominating that pole, but I feel like this frame is about to get real tense. Tie up with colours. Yeah, I feel like the way for you to do that is actually get on the colour, and Sullivan wasn't able to get those reds in. So in the end, still can't lose too many of those points there, Joe. As much as I say, he's fine with them for now. He can't be playing the yellow here on each of those occasions. He needs to miss the green. But even if he does miss the green, he's still going to need the cue ball to travel a long way, and he doesn't. So then, it's a really difficult shot along the side cushion there that probably has to take on. I mean, he's been past the point of I can try and play conservative snooker. You have to go for it here and now. And, well, the fact that he's going for backspin slightly may actually be suggesting that he is going to be taking this red on. But it's a really difficult one. He takes it really well, to be fair. And O'Connor, for now, is able to find all the answers to the problems that playing a touch tight will be harder on the black rail. Yes, he will be, but you know, you've got that red which he managed to get along the side cushion, which was far from easy. And I feel like the angle that he's got on the black may just be a bit of a destiny smile for him to be on the next red. And, well, I mean, it was a destiny smile, but I'm not sure it's actually worked out better for him. Update for you. He's got the red away from the black ball cushion, but he put it on the side cushion in a better position than he was. But he's got another difficult shot to try and get him started with. He's got the second one along the black rail to be taking on, or he's got the one into the middle. I have to say, with this one being so close to the black rail, I would rather go for the shot into the middle. But if he takes this one on right now, he's the real favourite for this frame. And yeah, I think the pocket was quite cheap there. I think the pocket was very cheap. He got the black ball cushion contact straight away. Still dropped this one in, so clearly played it well enough. I'm not going to moan about the pockets just now, just because it doesn't favour me. And yeah, I mean, apart from 2 points there, which has to be made, the green being out of position, and the yellow in... I mean, it's over the pocket, but it's still quite far away from the green. And, well, I mean... O'Connor clearly feels like taking the yellow away from its pocket right now is going to be an advantage for him. Let's see how that's going to work out. And, well, he's tried to use it... Well, he's tried to be the smart guy there. I don't really rate that from him because it feels like he's 5-0 up there against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the first of 6. And he's got a 60 points advantage. I mean, what a shot that he's played there. Off the cushion, off the side cushion into the yellow, where he had the black available to him. I mean, that's poor. So now he needs to take this red into the right corner. And, well, he's taking it with a cross double, which I'm not going to say is the wrong approach. But the fact that he's going to let O'Sullivan back to the table so cheaply is certainly poor from him. 43 points left at the table, and 17 is the advantage. As we're about to get to the boiling point of the frame, Ronnie needs that red to slow down and not leave it over the middle. And has he done so? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. And the fact, once again, that there was no hand of apology, probably suggesting that this red is going to be potable into the middle. Yeah, that's quite poor from Ronnie, though, because it was a really cheap giveaway. In the first shot that he plays with the safety, once again, just leaves his opponent back at the table. And, well, he can take this one into the middle, or he can take it into the right corner. I feel like it's going to be safer to be taken into the right corner, but you're always going to have a lot more of a chance of actually trying to cut this one into the middle. He's taken it. He got the black in, though. And is he going to have a chance to try and stay on it? He just about does have the chance let off. It is. It is a let off, but I mean, from her at this stage, it feels like there's been about 2 or 3 chances for O'Connor to win the frame, and there's probably been fewer for Ronnie, but he just keeps giving away chances. He just keep bleeding them. And this is a tough selection. He's got the yellow very much once again close to the pocket, which he can be taking. He can still going to be finding the points, but... And he's also pushes the yellow closer to the yellow spot, which might help transition to the green. But it's not an easy shot, and he's made it worse for himself. Now, does he drop the cue ball into the middle? Because that will leave away a free ball, and he doesn't. Well, it might not have left a free ball, but ball in hand would have been better there for Ronnie. And he's still fine, by the way, O'Connor, with all the reds that he's taken without colours. I just feel like had that advantage for Ronnie been further than that. And by the way, thing that I didn't notice, the yellow has gone safe. It's not perfectly safe, but it's on the side cushion. It can be doubled into the middle, but certainly is going to be something for O'Connor to be aware of. And, well, to be fair, it's not like it's only O'Connor that needs it. Ronnie will need that yellow as well, as he tries to take the red into the corner pocket. He's unable to take it, though. So once again, back to Joey goes. Let's do a bit of maths counting. So Ronnie probably will need the yellow as a frame ball, as the match ball. And O'Connor, of course, at this stage will need all of these colours, apart from maybe the black, for him to be the winner. So just once again, looking at the shred there from O'Connor's point of view. And the only thing that O'Sullivan's been looking at, probably been the tip of his cue. Now he's done with it, so you can try and see what's actually happening ahead of him. Yeah, it's a simple shot there for O'Connor, but I mean, I promise you, I was not doing that on purpose. And by the way, it still doesn't mean that O'Sullivan has got this frame off, but I mean, it was the simplest shots that you could imagine there, but somehow he got the contact completely off and he got it on the double bounce. So Ronnie has got this shred available into the middle, but once again, just that yellow being out of position is going to be the only thing that can stop Ronnie O'Sullivan from being the winner here. 17 points as his advantage. You'll have a look at the scoreboard now and you'll be aware of the fact that Snooker Gods have got one more test for him. So 17 points, well, might have one test and a half because he might actually need the green with it as well. He's tried to hammer his way onto this yellow, and I think it's worked out perfectly, and he has. So, all about this position on the green here. Well, get the yellow in first, guarantee yourself a respot, that's going to help as well. Seen worse yellows missed than that. You know, that Saudi one against Murphy's still going to haunt me in dreams. But he's played a brilliant shot there, Ronnie. But I've seen this green missed against Carter. Now, for the frame. Come on, Ronnie. It feels like a title win for him. Just get yourself in the second round. A bit of match playing time. And then you're going to have 5 more frames guaranteed to yourself. And he is going to be in the second round. This is the worst Ronnie that you've ever seen this last month. Well, this is the best Ronnie that I've seen since that Saudi Arabia Masters campaign. And he is going to be through to the second round. And haters can do one. And he will certainly be in the second round against Salgadon and will be there for it. And if he's not playing too well, we can forgive him for everything that he's done to the game. But he certainly managed to deliver in the second part of this match. This is going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan 5, Joe O'Connor 3. Joe played a good part to it, and he's not going to worry about the black. It is Ronnie O'Sullivan finally through to the second round, and he defeats a top 32 player, certainly for the first time since that win over, I can't even remember who it was, probably Jack Jones in the Xi'an Grand Prix. He's now finally able to put that curse behind him, and he moves on to the second round, where, as I say, he'll play Salgadon tomorrow. And looking forward to that one. We'll be back for one more match, at least. And then it is going to be the remainder of the action of the World Grand Prix. But the rocket is through. And it's certainly going to be through in the walls of Hong Kong for one more time. Commiserations to O'Connor. He has been the better man for the first part of the match. But in the end, wasn't able to make it work for him. Thank you for covering. See you again back, Ronnie, soon. He's unpredictable. He can go on God mode anytime. He is. And he's certainly done that for a couple of those frames. And he's now going to be a frame winner. Thank you very much for everyone that's tuned in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow with Ronnie O'Sullivan against Salgadon. Stay tuned in and don't miss the battle for Ronnie to be potentially in the quarterfinal for the first time since October. Speak to you all soon. Thank you very much and take care.